Hi, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, I'm about 5 minutes late for anyone who might be waiting. But other than that, I hope you're all having a good day so far. I'm about to ruin it by showing you some awful videos by some crazy creators. So, if anyone's here, welcome to the stream. If this is your first time here, please give me a follow. I'm only 2 streams away from being able to be subscribed to, and that'll be nice. But until then, we're going to have some fun anyway. I've been doing these more often lately, and I'm hoping you guys enjoy watching with me. Yeah. I'm going to have to throw a link to this in the Discord, and I'm going to tweet this out real quick, and then we can get going with the videos for today. What's the name of this stream? That's a good question. Hi, everybody. Hungry Killer 666, welcome. Oh, hi, Baja Blast. I saw you several minutes ago. Would you please bring me my medication because I forgot to take it when we got back from our walk? Hi, Bailey Quinn. Hi, Existential Baguette. Echo Strawn. Oh, God, what did Joe Biden do? If I were here, hello? Avandris, hello. Yeah. So let me just tweet this. Boop. And then boop, boop. And then Discord. It's the big pills and the estrogen, yes. Thank you.
Of course. Oh, you already have water.
Thank you, Zoe R. Hamilton for following. Okay, let me look at some of this chat stuff. Hi, Hannah. Have you done this before? Is this the first stream? Glad I made it. This is like the 5th stream or the 6th stream. I'm trying to get into doing it more often like Jake does. At some point, I'll fall into a more regular schedule, but so far it's seeming like I'm probably mostly going to be streaming in the days prior to Jake because he streams later, usually starting at around 8 or so, so I'm probably going to be streaming earlier in the day most often. I'm not exactly sure what days yet. Oh, my hair looks nice. Oh, it's all wet right now. It's air drying from the shower I just took. But thank you. Joe Biden basically said if you're not voting for him, you're not black. Oh, God. I'm going to have to look that up. How am I? I'm doing good. I got back from a 2-mile walk with Baja Blast, who you just saw come and bring me my hormones that I forgot to take today. I think in the words of the immortal James May, if I were a woman, I'd get pregnant a lot. I have to amend to cis woman because I am a trans woman, but you know what I mean. Oh, someone did a thing. Thank you, Sadie Bubs, rather, for following. So, I guess we can see what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden. Thank you, Wolf022, for following. What did Joe Biden say? Joe Biden says black voters considering Trump over him. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Ugh. This is just I hate the automatic playing video thing. Thank you, AstroDude67 for following. Joe Biden defended his legislative record in an often contentious Friday morning interview with Charlemagne Thaw God. Thank you, Dude Spanking Dudes, for following. Good name as well. And argued that his presidential campaign was doing enough to reach out to black voters. At one point, Biden argued that black voters undecided on whether to vote for him or for President Trump ain't black. Oh no, Joe, what are you doing, you stupid fuck? This is... Why did the Democrats do this? Why? Trump is the worst president we've ever fucking had. Well, Andrew Jackson, not so hot either. Trail of Tears. But Trump, I would say, in the modern era, let's say the last 50 years or so, by far the worst president. And Joe Biden makes you go, it's a question who I'm voting for. Not for me personally. I'm obviously not voting for Trump. But, yeah. Centrist idiots are going to be confused because it's just two demented old men who can't keep their hands off women, and they're not going to see a difference. Later Friday, in a phone call with members of the U.S. Black Chambers, a business organization, Biden sought to clarify and explain, but did not explicitly apologize for the comments. I shouldn't have been so cavalier. I never, ever taken the African-American community for granted. I shouldn't have been such a wise guy. I shouldn't have been so cavalier. No one should have to vote for any party based on their race, their religion, their background, Biden said. There are African Americans who think that Trump was worth voting for. I don't think so. I'm prepared to put my record against his. That was the bottom line. And it was, it really unfortunate. I shouldn't have been so cavalier. God damn it, Joe Biden, you stupid fuck. If anyone's curious what HRT looks like, by the way, this is the T blocker. It's quite a big pill. Weirdly smells like marijuana. I'm not kidding. And this is an estrogen pill, a little blue pill. Ugh. Either way, stupid thing Joe Biden said, as per usual. It saddens me that Biden is actually really popular. You'd be surprised how many people legit like this guy and would die for him. Yeah, I don't get it. Joe Biden. There were tons of really great progressive candidates in this primary. There was really only one really, really wrong choice. Well, there were a couple wrong choices, but like of the contenders that actually had a chance of winning, there was one wrong choice. And of course, that's the one that got picked by old, stupid, white Democrat voters. Idiots. It's so fucking stupid. Anyway, that's depressing. I don't want to talk about the election. Let's talk about other depressing things. We have, over 800 followers. Great. Thank you, everyone who has followed during this stream so far. We have Sargon, we have Blaire White, we have Spirit Science, we have the Jilly Juice Protocol. If anyone has any other channels that you'd like me to take a look at today, please do so in chat, and I'll try and get to them at least at some point. I can't guarantee if a bunch of people... Oh my god, Jilly Juice. Yeah, Jilly Juice. We should probably save Jilly Juice, because Jilly Juice is a little more funny. We should probably start with something angering like Sargon or Blaire. Gorl, what about Onion Boy? I don't even know what Onision's up to these days. Let me look. Onision. Dream Logic, 33,000 views. Wow, his videos really are... For having 2 million subscribers, these are weak-ass views. Some of our videos get more views than this. Like this 16,000, we get regularly 16,000 views on some videos. Wow. Nope. Not today, Satan. Not today. Thank you to... oops, that's the wrong tab. Thank you to... Whole Harold Penn 15 man for following. Very funny. Hannah, may I link a YouTuber who went in depth about Jilly Juice? Are you talking about Jeff Holiday? I'm familiar with Jeff. Have I talked to Jeff briefly? I think I have. He's a nice guy. I'm aware of him. It's Trump versus Hillary all over again. Two fucking shit candidates. I don't know if it's that bad. I don't know if it's quite that bad, at least as far as optics are concerned, because a lot of old people really like Biden. Old people don't like Hillary Clinton. His OnlyFans is so nasty. Yeah, nope, not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, but you and Jake are talented. That's debatable. He's got used to be popular Minecraft YouTuber levels of views. Yeah, feel that one. Can someone give me a rundown of what happens with Blaire White the other day? I kept hearing so many different things that I have no idea what to think anymore. She used the N-word about someone very stupidly, which isn't a shock because she's an idiot and kind of an awful fucking person. Oh, is it the Illuminati she called that? Because I'm familiar with her. Yeah, hard R. Anyway, let's take a look at what Sargon's been up to. Trump will lose re-election in a landslide, which I assume he will refute. Chad capitalists. UK, any of these... I already watched the based Elon one the other day, but are there any of these that look worth watching to you guys? I'll let you guys kind of decide in the chat what you want me to take a look at, because they're all equally awful to me. How long do these streams usually go? I've been going 3 or 4 hours. What do you think of Trump voters? What do you think of Trump trying to say Bernie voters should vote for him over Biden, Hannah? Stupid. If you were going to vote for Bernie and instead you choose to vote for Trump, you were never a Bernie supporter. You're a fucking weirdo who's, like, really, really attached to these cult of personality people. And I love Bernie. I voted for Bernie. But, like, you could not get two more diametrically opposed viewpoints on how this country should be run than Bernie or Trump. Biden is closer to Bernie than Trump. That's a fact. You can be mad about that, and you can still not like Biden. You don't have to vote for him if you don't want to, but Biden is closer than Trump. What are my thoughts on Dear Girl? I'm not familiar with that at all. What the fuck is Obamagate? I heard about something, but I haven't seen anything. Basically, a bunch of dumb fucks on the right are saying Obama unlawfully spied on the Trump campaign, despite the fact that there was an ongoing investigation into Russian interference at the time by the intelligence agencies, but they're saying that it was just to try and stop him, not because of, you know, the illegalities that were going on. If you're gonna vote for one of the two, vote Biden. Green's good too. Yeah, that's how I see it. At the end of the day, one of the two candidates up are gonna win from the two main parties, and if you're choosing between the two, I'm choosing Biden. I'm going to end up voting for Biden, specifically because I don't want Trump to get another turn, because I think Trump's presidency will be worse for the country than the Biden presidency, and I'm pragmatic in the way that I vote. You don't have to do that, but that's just how I feel about it. Anyway, I don't know. Let's do. Okay, let's talk about Trump ends immigration to the United States and see. Obviously, Sargon's going to be in favor of this. I'm also in favor of this during a pandemic, and only during a pandemic. But he's going to try and say, well, this is good. They should keep it like this all the time, because he's a nationalist and ethno-nationalist, and he doesn't want people coming in from other countries. So. Oh, there's no sound? Hold on. Something must be wrong with my, Hold on, I'll restart it once it's good. Where the heck is my audio output capture? Add source, add... desktop audio, maybe? Here, let me try this.
Is getting another $500 million. Oh, we could
Is
get
that good?
to
Can you hear that?
short comparison between...
Okay, there we go. Now it worked. Sorry about that.
This video will just be a short comparison between how Donald Trump is dealing with the problem of immigration in the United States compared to how the Conservatives are dealing with the problem of immigration in the United Kingdom. As you can see from this Guardian article, Trump's still building his wall, and there's a problem there. Oh god, workers are flocking to the border towns to build the wall, which they think might spread the coronavirus. Well, maybe,
The wall hasn't been built yet. What are you talking about?
maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who knows? But that border wall is getting another $500 million. Oh, we could give that to hospitals. Trump is basically taking the system off autopilot, as National Review says. So they're not just going to be continuously allowing millions of new people in. And in fact, Trump, I believe, has actually signed his executive order now.
The United States has one of the largest contiguous borders on the planet. You will not be able to curb illegal immigration via a wall because people will always find a way around it, under it, through it. It's really, really stupid and a waste of time and money to try and put a literal barrier up, especially when most illegal immigration into this country ends up happening because people overstay visas, not because they're Hispanic coming from Mexico and they literally cross the border. It's emotion-based, typical conservative emotional thinking to be like, bad people come in, me put up wall, me stop them. It's third grade thinking. It's idiotic.
Or at least he was going to, on the 22nd. I believe it's been done now. Say that he's temporarily pausing immigration. So for 60 days, immigrants are not going to be allowed to come to the United States. That's a good start, isn't it?
No, I mean, again, it's good in the sense that we're in a pandemic and you should be stopping the flow of people, whether it be within the country, within your state, within your county, within your city. These things are good, but only as emergency measures to stop a disease, not in general.
I've got to say, as someone who has been advocating for immigration to be reduced for a long time, and I think that really is something that will solve our problems in the long term.
Can I turn them up? Yeah.
Show you what I mean in a minute. I think that this is actually a work of genius, to be honest. By pausing immigration will help put unemployed Americans first in line for jobs as America reopens. So important.
That's stupid. That's incredibly stupid. Again, people aren't standing in line who need a job, who just got laid off because their employer didn't have money saved, and instead they spent all their money on stock buybacks, so they had to lay off thousands of workers. They aren't getting in line to go pick lemons in the American Southwest or whatever the fuck. The jobs that are typically taken by immigrants, or illegal immigrants specifically, are jobs that are done under the table for very little money. These are not jobs that you want the American populace to be doing. Frankly, I'd like no one to be doing them until it becomes a situation where they're paid better for their work. I don't care if fruit prices go up. I'd rather the employees who work there make more money. But this idea that somehow illegal immigrants are coming in and fucking up the economy is ridiculous. They provide labor, which is good for the economy, and they don't have social security numbers, so they're not taking from social services whatsoever. They're paying taxes in because they're buying products and stuff, and state and local taxes still apply to sales tax, but they're not taking anything out of the system. It's a shitty situation for them, in fact. I have very left ideas about immigration. However, people like this just think brown people in the country bad, because Sargon is an ethno-nationalist piece of shit. So, you know.
It would be wrong and unjust for Americans laid off by the virus to be replaced with new immigrant labour flown in from abroad. That's a really great point. That is putting the American worker first. And so they say they'll have a temporary pause demanded by the crisis that will be in effect.
Yeah, Alex, the archivist, says, Hannah, the UK government is looking for 70,000 fruit and vegetable pickers because they told Eastern Europeans they aren't allowed in the UK. Same shit here. Yeah, it's very stupid. These people let their racism and their weird political views about not letting people into their country because they're such special little snowflakes that deserve to have the country all to themselves. It makes them make irrational, poor decisions for the economy. Frenic31 donated $1. Thank you. Do you think you'll do a chill Animal Crossing stream anytime soon? I don't have a thing to connect my Switch to my computer. I'd have to look into getting one and seeing what I'd have to do that. But maybe someday. I don't know. I do enjoy Animal Crossing. And for those of you who don't know, under the box or whatever, even though I don't have subscriptions yet, I do have Streamlabs if you want to donate to help support the stream, or my transition fund if you want to help support my transition.
Administration will continue to monitor the labour market to amend or extend the proclamation if need be.
Just use your webcam to stream Animal Crossing? Oh, that would look really, really bad and glary, especially with my studio lights.
They may be exemptions for special kinds of employment, like medical workers, things like this. But this generally seems to be a very sensible policy. And after so many years of both the United States and the United Kingdom having mass immigration...
Yeah, immigration only benefits the economy. Look at how countries with highly restrictive immigration policies are faring. Pro tip, it's not good. Yeah, Japan's a good example of this. Especially with their aging workforce, with their aging population, and the fact that a lot of people, because of their really destructive work-centric culture, aren't having children. They're below replacement rates and their population is going down. Meanwhile, in a situation where you have a ton of elderly people in the country, similar to like baby boomers here in the States, you need a lot of young people working to put money into the system so that for things like Social Security or social programs that would be in Japan to help elderly people, they don't have enough people paying into them to keep them solvent. So you need immigration to keep population at least steady, if not growing.
The UK having a net of something like 350,000 or 250,000 between that over the time.
Has Sargon had a job that wasn't this? I honestly don't know. I have no idea what Carl did before this.
20 years. And the US having over 1 million legal immigrants in a year. It seems that there is now as good a time as any, while we're rebuilding and figuring out what's going on, to reassess the idea of just this unlimited mass immigration. And there are lots of good reasons for it, just in case you're not aware. I mean, we're headhunting the best. I mean, this really is the biggest problem.
Thank you, Sunken Submarine, for following.
The world in a state of underdevelopment, because we are pinching the best and brightest. We're poaching them from their countries where they could be doing good and could help to advance those countries into first world status.
This is very stupid. Okay, so people on the right tend to try and sugarcoat the arguments to make it seem like, oh, we're not racist. We don't not want brown people to come into the country. We just want them to stay in their own countries and make them better. No. Okay, for one thing, a lot of people who come to the country on visas are getting an education here. So a lot of immigrants come to the United States because we have, at least at the collegiate level, very high educational standards. Not so much in public schools, but that's a story for another day. So people come from all around the world to the United States and even to the UK to get an education, and then a lot of the times they will go back to their home countries and take that knowledge and build businesses or whatever. On top of that, a lot of people who immigrate to the United States still have family at home, and they will make money here and then send that money back home where it can be put into their local economy. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a good thing. So to say that it's a zero-sum game in which when someone immigrates to the United States and begins working here, it's a net loss for the country they came from, it's an incredibly reductionist view of how the system actually works. Things aren't black and white. People don't just come to this country and cut all ties from where they came from. Often it comes back to them via family or traveling back to their home country at some point.
By essentially offering them more money and allowing them to just come over here and work for us instead. it feels kind of neo-colonial, to be honest. It feels like we're extracting the labor from these countries.
No, it's not neo-colonial because the people are making the free choice to come here and become educated and then do what they want with that. That's the opposite of colonialism. It's allowing people to move freely and take advantage of your country by becoming educated within it and with its resources. They can also give back by spending money in the country, by providing labor and a job. Again, not everything is a zero-sum game. Sometimes things are just beneficial to all parties involved.
But the reason that this is important is not just because the Guardian is freaking out about it.
Yes, neocolonialism is the shit China and America are doing to the developing world. Look into what China's doing in Africa, investing a lot of money there because they know that there's cheap labor, and as their population of China becomes more modernized and the middle class grows there, they're going to stop becoming such a manufacturing powerhouse as they are right now. They're also probably going to start outsourcing their labor from China, mainland China, out to places like Africa and India. India's probably going to do the same thing at some point. Again, in capitalism, it's this game of musical chairs where capitalists are constantly trying to find the labor force that needs the money the most so they can pay them the least. It's a constant battle of trying to exploit who you can, where you can, but when those people are no longer as easily exploitable, you move on to the next one. It's awful.
And screeching how this is nativism. It is nativism. He's putting American workers first. Native in the sense of they were born and raised in America. They're legal American citizens, and they didn't have to, natural American citizens. They didn't have to apply for a passport, for a citizenship. Yes, it is nativistic, but that's okay.
No, not particularly. I think nationalism and nativism are very stupid, illogical positions that come from a place of severe insecurity where you've decided, okay, I'm in this place on the planet Earth, and we've drawn arbitrary maps, and I happen to be born in a place that's okay, but I'm afraid if other people who are from places other than this place on this imaginary map come here, then oh no, it might make things bad for me, so fuck them. It's selfish, it's stupid, it's childish.
He is the president of the United States. He's not the president of other countries, is he? America isn't an empire, is it? It should look after its own people, and, we'll worry about it.
America's absolutely an empire. Have you seen the amount of nation building that has been going on for the past century in terms of America going into other countries and absolutely fucking their shit up? It's not an empire in the sense that they're literally going out and annexing countries anymore, although there's been plenty of that. Look at Hawaii. But we do so economically. It's neocolonialism.
All right. But Trump caused all this to happen with a tweet, and it happened within 48 hours, which is interesting because compared
Guam,
to our system in the United Kingdom, where Priti Patel has been saying, well, we can have the UK can have a points-based immigration system by the end of the year. Boris is in favour of it, Priti's in favour of it, it's all going to go. And it's Priti Patel.
Thank you, Gwar Stoneskin, for following.
She vowed tough immigration rules, again, ahead of the government's review, which I'm sure we won't see, because apparently they don't release these reviews to us to see, like they haven't released the grooming gang report yet. But Priti Patel is pushing this forward. And again, she's causing
or
Guardian
Puerto
screech
Rico,
because she's like, we need to train more UK workers. Okay, that's nativism. They must be outraged. How dare you, Priti?
No, again, this is a straw man argument. There's nothing wrong with training people within your own country, but there is something wrong with telling people outside of the country, exclusive club, you can't come in because you're different than us. It's xenophobic and stupid and irrational.
And help our own people. Why would the government of the UK try to help British people? Don't you realise there are middle-class doctors in the third world that need to come to Britain so they can earn more money? Because that's basically the argument.
A lot of countries don't have enough doctors because of the high price of medical education in at least the States. I don't know what the situation is in the UK. I'm not sure how much it costs to go to medical school there. But bringing people in who are already educated in their own countries and maybe running them through some stuff to make sure that they're, capable of performing medicine in this country as well, that's a good thing. The more doctors and people who can provide healthcare services to people, that's a good thing. Sargon, I'm sorry you don't like the doctor who's treating you to be a different race than you, but it doesn't matter as long as they're qualified to do the job.
That you hear from the other side. And she's been in full immigration crackdown mode since the coronavirus, which is good. Restricting low-skilled immigrants, excellent. No country needs low-skilled immigration.
Bullshit. Every country needs low-skill immigration because there are a lot of jobs. Again, I'm not agreeing with the system because I think that those jobs should be protected in the sense that everyone who does them should be paid well. But a lot of these jobs are shitty and won't be done by citizens of the place because they aren't paying well enough. So what they do is they bring in immigrant labor to do those jobs, picking fruit, stuff like that.
I'm not going to go into the issue of the fruit pickers because I'm waiting for information.
Thank
on
you,
that to come out.
Stix42 for following, and
shelved her immigration bill during
Aprox
the
the
summer.
VAT
now,
for
this
following.
strikes me as being silly because again, now is the time where you have full justification to do this. If there is a deadly pandemic going around, or was, then it seems reasonable.
Thank you to Alex, the
to
archivist,
not
for
have
following.
people coming into your country who might have that disease. It just seems like night and day with these two comparisons, and it's very frustrating because I think it's down to political will and not ability. I mean, the Conservatives have a majority in the Parliament. I'm sure that they can do this, but it's not about ability. It's about the fact that the Conservatives.
Yeah, the Stellar Sea Cow says, I would rather we pay higher food prices and raise the lowest people's living standards. I agree. And some of the price raises could be mitigated by ensuring that workers have greater rights and ensuring that a living wage is paid to all who actually go out and work 40 hours a week, to make sure that billionaires and people with very high incomes who own these companies aren't taking advantage of that workforce and underpaying them so that they can get their second private jet or whatever stupid bullshit they got going on.
Are fundamentally quite weak on this issue, whereas Priti Patel individually might be excellent on it. Generally, as you can see, this is something that they're not using to their own political advantage, and it's frustrating because I don't want to be cynical, but now is the perfect time, is it not? Now is the right time for it. And while we're here, I think I'll address an argument that the Hitler simps on Twitter have been advancing. Oh, well, what are you going to do about immigration? What can anyone else do about immigration other than, I don't know, whatever it is that the Hitler simps want to do?
Did you just say Hitler simps? Jesus Christ. Frenic31 donated $1. Whenever you have time, I'd highly recommend you check out this video on Sargon's claim about Muslim R gangs. I'm not going to say the word just because I know YouTube has a thing with the R word. I'm not sure about Twitch. I'm still pretty new to it. Can I find that in the
There's nothing funny about
brings them up a lot, and this vid does a good job dismantling this claim. Okay. How do I get to that link? Because in my Streamlabs, I can, like, see it, but it cuts off. Is there a way to get to the... Let me go to my Streamlabs. Streamlabs! Oh, wait, hold on. I'll open it in here. Maybe you won't be able to see it. Maybe you will. I'm going to switch to this real quick, actually. Boop. Okay. Let's see what it said. Okay, here's the link. Okay. Back to this.
And the answer is, well, we don't have to do all that much apart from just close the borders, as Donald Trump has done, because people move of their own accord. As you can see from the migration statistics here, this is up until September 2018. These are the government's official statistics. You can see that immigration in total is 600,000, and emigration in total is about 350,000, which makes the net migration around 250 to 300,000. That's the problem that we have.
Why is that a problem?
Don't see any compelling reason to think that emigration will also stop if we stop immigration. I don't know if they're directly connected. I don't see why they would be directly connected. The reasons that someone leaves the country and moves somewhere else are going to be different for the reasons that someone who's leaving a country to come here.
So you want people in your country to be allowed to leave and move into other countries, but you don't want people to come to your country. Do you see the hypocrisy of that? Do you understand how that's like a really, really selfish worldview? You think that you have the right to go out and go to other countries and live there, but other people from other countries don't have the right to come doing the same in your country? On what basis?
And if we just prevent people from coming here, then we can just allow the immigration to carry on itself. You might say, well, how do you know there aren't all British people fleeing? It's like, well, we actually have the data. The migration leaving the population for Brits is about 70,000 a year, according to the government again, to the year ending September 2019. So this is pretty recent data. As you can see, the migration is going up from non-EU people and down from EU people, but we don't want any migration to be going up. And so if we were to just, again, reduce it, end it, cap it, whatever it is we want to do.
Interesting that he has such a focus on non-EU people. Is it because people not from the EU have a higher likelihood of being non-white? Because otherwise, I don't see the reason for him to care about that specific metric.
The natural immigration of this 350,000 people a year, after we take away the sort of 70 or 80,000 Brits, you're looking at still 250,000 non-British people who are emigrating from the United Kingdom every year. That's the exact opposite, the complete polar reverse of the pattern that has brought us to this position. And I think that we can do this, and this means that we have done nothing illiberal. We are not targeting any one group. We are not forcing people to do anything. We are not violating anyone's rights. Nobody has a right to come here if they aren't citizens. We are.
Okay, and why do you think that makes it okay to just stop it altogether? It seems like a weasel thing to do to say, well, they don't have the right to do it. Okay, but why do you feel that it's imperative to stop them from doing so? Morally take a stance on that and explain why that you think that is the case.
They're doing absolutely nothing outside of the scope of contemporary international politics. It would be a very sensible decision for us to make. It would put the country back on the right track to see that, and so the regular person could feel that the country was not going to be overwhelmed in like 10 or 20 times, because that in 10 or 20 years, because to be fair, that is what the predictions are showing. There's no getting around the fact that there is going to be a significant amount of cultural displacement if we simply leave the borders open. It doesn't matter what...
Oh, cultural displacement. Cultural dog whistling is one of my least favorite things because I find it incredibly cowardly. Yes, people from different places have different cultures, but literally every historical example of a group of people coming to a new country involves them becoming assimilated over time. Maybe not even the first generation immigrants, but their children, their children's children, absolutely integrate entirely. So this idea of like, oh no, these people from other places are going to come into the country and they're going to destroy either British or American culture is ridiculous. American culture in particular, when you're talking about stuff like this, is an amalgamation of so many different immigrants and their different cultural traditions coming together. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche to talk about, like, America, it's a mixing pot, but it really is. Imagine, like, think about what happened when the Irish came to America, and they were incredibly, people were incredibly racist to them. You know, you've seen the Irish need not apply signs and everything. And over time, they integrated, and part of their culture became American culture. St. Patrick's Day is huge. People love, to celebrate, like, I'm Irish, even though they're not from Ireland. Their family was, You can see the same thing throughout every group that has come to America. Like Germans, because I'm from Michigan and a lot of Germans have come here. Polish, there's a lot of Polish people around here. And I imagine the same thing is going to continue to happen for who are the main immigrants to the country now, which is Hispanic populations. Over time, their cultural traditions will mix in with the rest of America's, and I'm sure Cinco de Mayo will be a hella fun holiday in America in the next 50 years. It already is, but I'm just saying it'll become more of a thing. And that's fine. That's great. We have all kinds of different people living here, and that's a wonderful thing. It's nice to not have the same type of person everywhere all the time. Thank you, Jahardrim, for following, and X-T for
What
following.
the culture is, it doesn't matter where they come from. They could be French, they could be German, they could be Polish, Pakistani, Chinese, whatever it is. If millions and millions and millions of people come to the
Gangs of New York shows that time really well. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I've heard it's good.
Kingdom, then the culture of the United Kingdom will change. We won't have a choice. We can already see this in places like London and Birmingham. It's one of those things where you think, hey, there is a distinct sort of Britishness that is being lost in these areas. And again, I don't...
We don't have badly cooked food and tea anymore. It's full of curry. I hate it. Well, too bad, Sargon. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. You don't like that culture is changing. Culture is an ever-changing entity. No place ever has maintained the same cultural zeitgeist for any amount of time. As populations change, even when populations don't change, the culture changes. Grow up.
I think that's down to race at all. I think it's just down to number and incorporation and a lack of it. So instead of allowing this lack of incorporation to go on, we can just close the borders. Literally, there is no bad thing there.
Better off, Sargon. Why don't we just close the borders and build walls around all our cities, and everyone stays in their house all the time, and then you don't have to be afraid about everyone who's different from you outside of your home. And will that make you feel comfortable? We could get you a binky. That might make you feel better, too. Are you concerned, Sargon? Are you concerned about brown people coming to your home and making you uncomfortable?
There's nothing funny about the tools of
Fucking child.
Unless your primary
Thank you,
overriding goal
TXR1118,
is
for
the
following.
GDP. And I don't give a damn about the GDP. I give a damn about the quality of life and the
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about GDP either.
tone and texture of life in this country. And I think that is something that we have a responsibility to preserve. We don't have to do anything either, other than just simply not allowing hundreds of thousands of people every year to come and live in this country. Anyway.
Man, Carl's gonna shit his pants if aliens make first contact with Earth. Just imagine all the cultural changes that Earth will go through if first contact does happen from Katrina Hood. That's gonna be fucked up. Let's say aliens do exist out there. I think there's a high chance that other life exists out in the universe somewhere, but I think it's far enough away in distance and perhaps in time, in terms of, like, you know, they might have existed back in dinosaur times, but they've gone extinct. Whatever. If any did come to Earth, humans are going to be awful to them. It's going to be bad.
I suppose it's positions like this that have made me deeply unpopular with the establishment, because they love open borders. And so if you'd like to help us out, you can check out our Teespring store and keep us in business by getting
Free speech extremist. Yeah, fuck off.
something from there. Luckily, we've got some really great t-shirts. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. The links have been...
Yikers.
nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you, S. Dokel, for following. I'm real bad at pronouncing usernames, by the way, so if I get anyone's wrong, I apologize. It's not on purpose. I promise you. I already watched Is It Worth Debating You, or BreadTube. Is this the deer person people were talking about?
Good news, Twitch users. They've established a safety advisory council to help sort out their rules. That's good news for you, isn't it? They can take some of the professional Twitch streamers and get them to help moderate the platform.
Yeah, Alex the Archivist says about Sargon, no, you're unpopular with the establishment because you made R jokes about politicians and then tried to get elected, you dick. Oh, you know what I want to watch? Fuck this. Fuck Sargon being all smug. Let's... Concession. Oh, where is it? He's like, does a weird... Sargon Akkad... concession speech? Would that be it? Sargon of Akkad. He's like sitting in the dark at this place. I know Vosh did a thing on it. Let me see. Vosh. Sargon losing. Debating Sargon, blah, blah. Sargon debate. I'm looking for a specific one. Does anyone know what the video is called or something like that? Yeah, I'm not gonna watch Vosh. I was just trying to look for a thing. Carl Benjamin concession. Maybe it's not on YouTube anymore. Did it get deleted or something? It wasn't an interview. It was just him. That's what. Oh God! Remember that time he got milkshaked? Gosh, why can't I? What the heck was it called? Carl Benjamin. What's next? Was it like what am I doing after? Fuck, I can't find the video I want to watch, which is really unfortunate. It was after he lost the election, and he did this weird supervillain speech, basically. Around when did he lose the election? There we go! I think this is it. I think this is it.
So, let me tell you about the 20-year plan. Sorry for the strange way that I've got to record this. I probably wouldn't record a normal video this way, but as you can see, I'm not at home. I'm at a mystery location.
This is like right after he lost the election.
My wife wanted a holiday after the campaign because it was stressful for her, and I was away a lot, and I said, okay, we can do that. I'll be back in a few days. You'll get a few interesting videos like this, though, because it's the best I could do. Anyway, to address the crabs in the bucket, what are you so afraid of? What are you so scared of? Are you afraid of losing? Are you afraid of defeat? Because, man, nobody builds anything if they're afraid of defeat. Of course, there are going to be setbacks. But the MEP election was not one of them.
Seems like a defeat, since you didn't win the seat you were, campaigning for. That seems like the definition of defeat, but let's agree to disagree.
Now, apparently I have to explain this again, so I will. Things need to change, and we've started changing those things. So I noticed that my last video had been brigaded by some very angry internet activists, and I thought I'd give them a hand. You only managed 2,300 downvotes to 27,000 upvotes. Kind of low energy.
He's so mad. You can tell he's like seething, but he can't show it. So he's getting super defensive and trying to be like, oh, you tried to downvote my video. Nice try, liberals. Like, Sargon, it's okay. You lost. You want to have a cry? That's okay. Embrace your feelings, man. Carl, I'm here for you.
Frankly, and I want you guys to work harder because you're doing your part in spreading my name. So do me a favor and keep going. right? Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being salty ex-girlfriends on the internet. That's basically what I'm talking about. Because I just live in your heads, don't I? When I do something, you're like, oh God, we have to talk about this. You're like my fan club.
The smugness is a typical thing that Sargon likes to do, and it's usually pathetic. But coming off of a humiliating defeat, let's take a look at how bad Carl Benjamin did. Gamergate politician Sargon of Akkad loses election bid. Carl Sargon of Akkad Benjamin, a YouTube figure who rose to prominence rallying against feminism during the Gamergate movement, will not become part of the European Parliament. Benjamin ran as part of the far-right UKIP party, a group almost entirely focused on racist anti-immigration policies. UKIP did especially poorly, according to BuzzFeed, following their attempt to inject energy into the movement by recruiting loud voices from the internet. Benjamin was continuously dogged and criticized for his past comments, including a tweet where he said he wouldn't even R UK politician Jess Phillips, a comment he and others tried to pass off as satire. That's not what satire is, Carl. A dictionary would be helpful for you, maybe? Phillips had a short response to the news of Benjamin's loss. What a shame. During the campaign, police began investigating Benjamin following the discovery of a video where he said he might R Phillips with enough pressure. Shortly after, YouTube announced it was demonetizing Benjamin's YouTube channel, preventing him from profiting off ads that appear in front of his screeds. His channel has nearly 1 million subscribers. UKIP's EU campaign has been overshadowed by Sargon of Akkad's disgusting comments and R-jokes and things he said in the past. A UKIP director told The Guardian after admitting how poorly UKIP had done, That's very much marred UKIP's reception. Benjamin was also the target of several milkshakes, a form of protest popularized during this round of elections, largely aimed at divisive candidates such as Benjamin and Nigel Farage. In a video titled Exactly as Expected, Benjamin attempted to spin the election results as precisely what he anticipated before doubling down on his associates in support of UKIP. We aren't going anywhere, he said, but without a voice in the European Parliament, our way to make money on YouTube that might actually be a little presumptuous of him. Exactly as expected. Maybe either he changed the name of the video to the 20-year plan, or there we go.
Well,
Okay. May 29th. May 27th. Okay. Let's watch this one. And then we'll go back to the other one. Or if this one is bad, we'll just go back to the other one.
As expected.
They died so hard. Yeah, no kidding.
I know that a lot of people, for some reason, thought that UKIP were going to do all right in this election, and I have to say, I'm sure that I made it.
Benjamin was not elected, with his party getting only 3.22% of the vote in his native Southwest England constituency. Oh, that's terrible. A drop from 29% in 2014. Oh, that's an awful drop. That's a 90% drop almost. And losing both of its seats in the region, as well as 22 of its seats across the rest of Britain. Good job, Sargon. You did something good for once. Got fewer far-right people into the parliament by just trying to get elected yourself.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you to the Ender92 for following.
It clear that we weren't going to. There was no beating Nigel Farage at this point, and there was no point even trying to beat him. He is Mr. Brexit. In this country, he is the face of Brexit. In the midst of the Brexit betrayal by the Conservatives, leading a party called the Brexit Party. It's no wonder he did so well, and congratulations to him. I hope he delivers Brexit. I really do. I am pig sick of talking about Brexit. It is honestly the last issue that I want to deal with at this point, which is why when
How am I doing today? Quite well, thank you for asking.
we were on the campaign trail, so little of what we actually talked about
I'm going for a bit and might miss the end. I'll stop it next time. Thank you, Sadie Bubs. Hope to see you again.
revolved around Brexit. There are other issues at hand, but when you're leading a party called the Brexit Party and you have various allies from various different political leanings all chipping in to help you, it's no wonder that, well, as Anne Widdecombe put it,
Well, I think it's very straightforward. The people have once again voted to leave because there was only ever one reason for voting for the Brexit Party. We didn't cloud it with any other issues. We said, vote for us if you want a Brexit. And that is what the nation has done big time tonight. We've only been around for 6 weeks. And so I think what this does is send a very clear message to Westminster, again, that if they don't sort out leave, then, at the next general election, both the big parties are going to face carnage.
this is a completely true and salient analysis. And if anyone thinks that it's because I party thought if they
Alright, this one's more boring. I'm gonna go to the supervillain speech because this is much more entertaining.
and what's even better is you need me for money. I hope those super berries were tasty. To one particularly salty scientist.
No idea who he's talking about here.
How's Le Pen doing now?
Why is he... The fake laughter, it makes me so uncomfortable. You can tell there's just rage boiling, like, up to here on him, and he doesn't know what to do with it. So he does what he always does and goes to smugness, but he can't even get the smugness to come across as genuine like he normally does. It just comes off as a person who's about to be fucking unhinged. Like, he's so mad he didn't win, and he doesn't know what to do with it. It's bizarre.
I'm always ahead of the curve, Phil. I'm always ahead of the curve.
He looks like he's about to cry. Yes, he does.
Just you wait. The thing is, none of this is actually particularly surprising in any way, shape, or form. But thank you to everyone that's saying that I ruined UKIP. Thank you for that, because
they did get 90% fewer votes the year you joined and decided to make a bunch of comments about R-ing people or not doing so. So, good job.
Me more powerful than I otherwise would be. Frankly, more powerful than I deserve to be considered. Because really, there was no beating Farage.
Oh,
And everyone
Thunderfoot?
knows. And anyone with any kind of political nous knows this. Anyone with any experience of British politics. I mean, Nigel Farage is probably the most influential politician in the country. And if you're on the internet saying that I'm more influential than him, thank you very much. So,
people aren't saying you're influential, Sargon. They're saying you tanked an election by being a very open and sensationalist dickhead. It's pretty simple. You can't really spin this to be positive for you, Carl. You just look like a jackass.
here's a quick strategic analysis of where UKIP is now. UKIP is a party with now more than 30,000 members, which is almost double what it had when we joined. And it also does hold...
Yet you got only 10% of the vote. How does that work, Carl? Did a bunch of internet weirdos sign up and say they're part of UKIP because you have a big following on YouTube, but none of them can actually vote in UK elections? How does that work? Because you got 10% of the vote you normally get, yet you're saying they doubled their numbers. So how does that work?
a few dozen council seats, and it has many strong branches in the southwest. I'll use the example of the Gloucester branch. It was run by an old white man, a boomer, and he was a tyrant.
Carl, whether or not your age is that of a boomer, your spirit is a boomer incarnate. I don't even know if I'd say boomer. You're like a weird ether addict from the 1880s who's like, we gotta get all the Chinese people out of this country. Eh. You're worse than a boomer, is what I'm saying.
He was very plugged into the old way of doing politics, and he was very, the branch members called him tyrannical. And so when I went to Gloucester as part of my anti-fascist parade, they were very pleased to see me, and they thanked me for getting rid of him. Now, I didn't mean to get rid of him, but you're welcome, because things had to change. And this...
Members are people who pay subscriptions to the party. Is that real? Does UKIP have a thing where you donate and they consider you a member at that point? Because if that's the case, then Sargon, a bunch of international right-wing idiots chose to join up because you have a large YouTube following, but none of them can vote, so what did it help?
Change will continue because UKIP is polling higher and higher among young people. UKIP is going to end up becoming a kind of revolutionary youth party.
Oh, my governor, the governor of my state, just extended the stay-at-home order until the 12th. That's good.
For classical liberalism. Now that's, frankly, I think what we all want to see in Britain, because that's something that a lot of people can get behind, I think. Because these are the changes...
Oh, shoot. Baja Blast. Would you bring me my phone charger? I thought it was in here, but I am incorrect. Thank you.
...changes that we need to enact. It is genuinely a restoration of liberalism in Britain after being subverted by progressivism, which essentially means being subverted by socialism.
Do you see why people don't take you seriously, Carl, when you say such vacuous statements as progressivism is equal to socialism when liberals exist? And this is, of course, coming from a United States perspective. But these things aren't the same thing. You can be a progressive and not be a socialist. Words have meanings, Carl, and when you just use them irresponsibly, no one's going to take you seriously.
Now, like I said, is not our time. Now we set the groundwork.
Oh, is this his Marty McFly, you kids aren't ready for that yet, but your kids are going to love it moment? No! No!
The important thing is that we just carry on. People who are like, oh, you've destroyed UKIP in the polls. Did you see the polls for UKIP before we joined? We're actually up. We're actually up in an election that doesn't matter in the slightest.
It mattered enough that you wanted to run, so... Phone charge, yeah!
And 2 dimes from the wash.
Oh, thank you very much. How's the Skyrim going?
I'm not playing Skyrim.
Oh, what you doing?
I'm watching Hoarders and folding laundry.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The MEP elections was a rerun of Brexit. And it's a good thing for everyone, frankly, that the Brexit Party swept it. A very good thing. If they didn't, then, honestly, there may well have been a second referendum, frankly. I don't think that's going to happen now, because at the moment, I think the Conservatives, led by Boris Johnson, as I put in the last video, and I think he will be leading it, or Sajid Javid, but Sajid Javid has also said that he would leave the European Union on October 31st. And I think there's kind of a meme in the Conservative Party right now that they understand that, look, they've got to get us out, or it's going to be the death of their party. And the Conservative Party is very old. It's an institution in and of itself, and I think that the people in the Conservative Party realise that they have one option to save their party.
I gotta turn the air conditioner on, I'm getting warm. 1 sec.
And I think they do want to save their party. I think it's a part of their identity. I think it's a part of their their worldview is to consider themselves part of this. And so I don't think they're going to let that happen. I think they're going to get us out of the European Union. Problem solved. Or at least one problem solved. Then we have lots of other problems that we have to worry about. Now, this gives us quite a lot of time between now and about this time next year, when the next local elections will be held. We're going to keep doing the things we're doing, and we're going to do it because it works. You can't...
Well, it was May, and it's now May now. Is anyone in the UK that knows what's going on in terms of UKIP for this year's local elections? Are they still a thing? What's going on? I don't know if anyone here knows.
To win a war if you're not prepared to lose a battle. Now, I was actually thinking about this. maybe it would have been wiser to
Thanks,
have taken
Pseudo-Sapien.
the
Hope you have a good
Gibraltarian
rest of your day.
gentleman's opinion on this and actually not have run at all. Because, I mean...
Oh, the
money was
local
spent
elections aren't on, probably because of coronavirus. Gotcha. Well, we'll see what happens, I guess, when they are rescheduled.
really need to be spent. It probably would have been wiser, but... I mean, it's easy
Thank
to say,
you,
well, in hindsight, every fool is
Adiax9 for
wise.
following.
So I don't really know. I mean, maybe it would have been better not to have done, but we accomplished a hell of a lot in the campaign itself, and we learned some really valuable lessons. I'm probably going to go over some old ground from the previous video, but I think this is important because this is really what we want and what we need to end up winning this war. So the point of doing the town hall style conversations and debates in the public square was to draw out the opposition, and man, they couldn't resist.
So, you're saying that really this was all to make people on the left look stupid by throwing milkshakes at you, and somehow that made them look stupid, as opposed to you, who was covered in milkshake, and then lied about saying there was like concrete in it or some bullshit. Right. Yep. Nailed it, Sargon.
I mean, we didn't even give them a spicy topic that we were going to discuss. We just said, hey, we're coming. And man, in Totnes was amazing. They came out in droves. There was literally like 100, 200 rabid Romani lefty types who didn't know shit and got really, really, really angry that we
Thank
knew more
you
than they
to
did.
Reese.
We had our arguments. They didn't
Oh,
have theirs.
God.
And
Reese,
we held the field
the
afterwards,
alpaca
and that's
for the
important thing.
$5. You
They
said
never
trans
drove us
rights. Thank you
They
very
never
much.
drove us off. They couldn't drive us off. And so we held this, and we carried on for the entire day, and we got some really valuable content out of it.
Thank you,
The
Plain
lady
Thunderous, for
who'd
following.
fled from the north because of immigration there. She was unbelievably valuable. And the South African ladies who think that there's nothing wrong with South Africa at the moment.
Yeah,
they were
Sargon's milkshake couldn't bring all the boys to the polls. Minecraft says. Very funny.
very useful too. Getting the extremity of the left to come out and face us, priceless. Because I don't know whether you've noticed, but they won't talk to us.
Because you're not worth talking to. Because you're trash, Sargon. Because you're an ethno-nationalist piece of shit. That's why. You're not worth talking to, in my opinion. Other people can do as they please.
They will censor us, they'll deplatform us, but they won't come and talk to us. They'll do everything they can to avoid engaging with us. And this was a way of bringing them out of their fortresses and getting them to engage on the field, and we shredded them at every turn. Not one of them went away happy with the way that the conversation between me and them had gone, and
Because you're an asshole. That's why.
that's what we need to know. Essentially, we need to make sure that they can commit, and this was a way of doing it. Now, I hadn't even specified topics that we were going to discuss. Imagine if I did. Imagine if I go to Rotherham and flyer the town with, we're going to talk about Labour's culpability with the Rotherham grooming gang scandal. You
I have no
already
idea
hear
what
the
that's
screeching,
about.
can't you? You can already hear the screeching. How about if I go to Sheffield, where Mayor Magic Majid wears his T-shirt, "Immigrants make Britain great," and
Crab the Crab says the cement in the milkshake thing is weird. Did they think they thought the cement would harden in midair? Why wouldn't they just fill the milkshake with rocks if that was their goal? Yeah, it's all very stupid. It makes no sense. It was a really, really stupid deflection by him.
flyer around there for a town hall meeting of when are they going to make their own countries great? They're not going to be able to resist us. In fact, they're going to go psychotic. It's going to be national news, and they're going to look terrible. And all we have to do is just smile and wear the milkshakes with pride. And honestly, every milkshake taken is a point of pride, by the way. You have to understand. That's them showing that they've lost the argument. As Ricky Gervais said, when you resort to this, you haven't got anything else to say.
Or they just think you're a dick who deserves to be pelted with food product, Sargon. Like, I think I'm right compared to you. I have plenty I could say to you, but I don't think you're worth the time to actually talk to in a one-on-one basis, because you're an ideologue who believes in ethno-nationalism, and I'm not going to convince you of anything anyway. You're way too vested in it. So, instead, you try and humiliate this person. You try and debunk this shit to other people, because what matters is convincing the rest of people that you're full of shit and you're worthy of ridicule. That's the tactic. No one is obligated to engage with you because you don't work in good faith. And that's just kind of the way it is when you operate that way. No one's going to want to engage with you.
You know they're saying things that you can't refute, and so you're resorting to violence. Very middle-class, pointless violence, but that is a form of violence nonetheless. And this is what we need to do. We need to bring them out of their strongholds and defeat them in the field. Not a problem. And then once we've done this enough, their best and brightest are going to come out, and they're going to come and talk to us. And that's where the real challenge will begin. And that's how we begin to domesticate these issues, because that's what needs to happen. At the moment, no one can...
Again, he's explicitly saying, basically, we want to normalize these far-right xenophobic viewpoints. It's fucked.
Talk about them. But UKIP's going to. And UKIP's going to own these conversations. And they're going to own the format. They're going to own it. It'll be UKIP town halls are coming to your city soon. It's going to be big. Now, in the meantime, to the crabs in the bucket, I'm sorry you're stuck on the internet.
For those of you who don't know what he's referencing, crabs in a bucket is a metaphor used because crabs, if crabs are trying to crawl out of a bucket that they're in, other crabs within the bucket will pull them back down. So he is saying that people, perhaps from within the UKIP party, who are saying, Sargon, it's your fault, we lost 90% of the vote we got last time. He's saying, you're crabs in a bucket. I am exceeding you, I am escaping the bucket, and you're just trying to drag me down. Which is hilarious.
I'm sorry that nothing exciting is going on with you. And I'm sorry that all you can do is send super berries to your favourite internet neat. But I don't care. I honestly don't care. The things you say just look wildly misinformed to me, and so I'm just sat there looking at it thinking, well, there's no sense to this. You were just misinformed. But the thing is, I don't actually want to inform you. Because A, I don't want to ruin my own plans, and B, I think you're a drag on anything that happens. And I know that's what you think about me, but like I said, you don't understand that a little creative destruction has to occur in order for something new to rise out of the ashes. UKIP is not going away. UKIP is a party of fighters, and they're fighters for British value.
Yeah, what's the Superberry reference? I don't get that either.
And if you think that they haven't been smeared by the media...
Oh god. The Stellar Sea Cow says, oh god, I just had a chunk of my tooth break off. I'm blaming Sargon for that. Oh, I hope you're good. Oh no. I hope you can get that looked at. That's a shame.
You're wrong. If you think they haven't had lower polling numbers before, you're wrong.
Yeah. Reese the Alpaca says, I honestly don't care, and that's why I'm making a whole video about how much I don't care. Yeah.
Only a fool would think that anyone could have beaten Nigel Farage here. Yes, I had to, in the interview with Sky News, say, well, the polls are wrong with Brexit and Trump, because they were. That's a true statement. It's one she can't refute, and further information had not yet come out, so what could she say? You don't understand that when you're dealing with these journalists, you're in a fight. It's a sparring match. You've got to go back and forth. And as long as you're saying true things, then you're saying true things. And that was a true thing. That's why I won. We are, of course, going to carry on. We're going to keep getting in their face. I would say that the perfect time to join UKIP is now. This is the perfect time, because everything is in chaos all over the country, and it is here too. UKIP has always been ahead of the curve, and we still are. What's frustrating is that...
No.
I don't really know how much I can say without spoiling what's going on, but none of this is against the plan. This is all advantageous to the liberal activists who are seeking to change things for the better, and I know that the sort of foreigners who are watching this won't understand that. I know they won't. But I also know that the YI guys...
Let's watch
the other
Why
chaps in
is
my
Cat
Discord,
seems like better content.
people who
It
are
is. I've
supporting
seen
us
it.
on
It's a
social
Lindsay
media,
Ellis video, and she's
I know you get it
fantastic.
because I read your comments.
Someone says, "I feel stupid. What is UKIP?" You're not stupid. It's a far right UK political party
You understand what's going on.
that Sargon was a part of, and he ran in elections last year under UKIP. And after him running, and some major gaffes and revelations where it turns out he had said I wouldn't even argue to a female politician, and then later he said well, maybe I would argue in if I have enough convincing or whatever, and they lost 90% of the vote that they had gotten in the previous election because probably in part due to Sargon.
We are actually moving forward in the direction that we want to move in. This is entirely good. We are going to make UKIP a really relevant force in British politics in the next few years. Just watch. There are too many deep and unresolved social issues that the establishment simply cannot touch. It's such fertile ground for us that we have to plough it. We have to sow our seed, and we have to reap our crop. However, in order to do that, we've got to break the ground first. And that's what these MEP elections were. I just want to stress that the importance of these has been massively overhyped. I mean, UKIP didn't get any MEPs. UKIP doesn't want any MEPs. The whole point of the party was to leave the European Union. Why would we want MEPs? I'll be back in a week, although I will still upload content. It'll probably be like this. I'll probably do a couple of videos for my Thinkery channel, just because there's been some interesting stuff I'd like to cover, and I actually have a Wi-Fi signal here, and there's a cat as well. I will be back. Things will be interesting.
That
and we're
poor
going to keep
cat.
going. We're going to keep drawing them out. We're going to get them in the field, and we are going to crush them. And we have all the tools we need to do it. We have all the resources required. We have the backing of people who we need. We have the fan club online who will be angry when we win. And we'll get to hear the left howl. Absolutely howl. And expose themselves for the tyrants that they are. As I said, I will prove it. But another video about that a little bit later.
Yeah, okay, Sargon, whatever you fucking say. Idiot. Let's see. That happened. Alright, I'm done with Sargon for now. Let's break this up with something a little more entertaining. Do you guys want spirit science or the Jilly Juice protocol? Both are entertainingly bad. Spirit science is woo-woo bullshit. Jilly Juice is a crazy person who drinks fermented cabbage water and thinks that it'll help you regrow limbs. Spirit science, Jilly Juice. Jilly Juice. Science, Jilly Juice. Both, please. Spirit science, spirit. Wow, it's like 50-50, basically. Juice. Jilly Juice. Looks like Jilly Juice is winning just barely. So we'll do some Jilly Juice, and then we will do some spirit science, because you clearly want to see both. Let's see, what's our most popular videos? So for those of you who are unfamiliar with what Jilly Juice is this concoction made by this individual, Jillian Epperly. She has a book, The Jilly Juice Protocol, which I believe is available on Amazon. She also has private internet groups that you can pay to get into, and she believes that this concoction that she makes by blending up cabbage and putting it into a ton of salt water and then letting it ferment, and if you drink this, she believes it is the key to curing all diseases, all ailments, everything. She thinks it'll cure your homosexuality and make you straight. If you're missing a limb, she believes it'll grow back your limb, which is not something that happens. She believes it'll cure your cancer, because she believes all ailments are caused by this thing called candida, which is a fungus. Candida actually causes things like thrush or yeast infections. But she believes that this same bacteria causes like everything, up to and including cancer, crazy stuff like that. And she's been on Dr. Phil, which of course debunked her bullshit. Oh gosh, why am I blanking on his name now? He's really great. Now I gotta look it up because I feel bad. I mentioned him earlier. Jilly Juice. Miles Power also did something which is good, but that's not what I was looking for. Jeff Holiday, of course. Sorry, Jeff. I know you're not watching, but if this ever gets back to you, sorry, I forgot your name for a second. Jilly Juice protocol stuff has been covered at length by Jeff Holiday. He has whole playlists about it. Check it out if you haven't. But we're gonna go ahead and watch some of this. Waterfalls versus diarrhea. So, within this protocol, when you drink this salty fermented cabbage water, you get what Jillian calls waterfalls. And waterfalls are... It's explosive diarrhea. It's explosive, uncontrollable diarrhea because your body is trying to expel all this salt water that you've drank that is also fermented. And here she is, I guess, trying to explain why it's not diarrhea. So here we go.
Hey everybody, so I want to just really quickly go over the difference between waterfalls and diarrhea so there is no mistake about the difference between the two because they are not the same.
They're the same. Shitting copious amounts of fecal fluid out of your butthole is diarrhea, regardless of why you're having it. Oh, we got something. Thank you, Knob J, for following.
They have very similar characteristics only because there is an action that is...
Thank you, the Stellar Sea Cow, for following. I hope your tooth is doing okay. I think that was you who said your tooth got chipped.
...going on, but you have to know what precipitated the event to begin with. So...
It is a poop bonanza.
Has to do with what it exactly triggered that event, and then what it is that you're taking in that contributed to the triggering of the event. So, when you get diarrhea, and you ate something that was poisonous to your body, and then let's say it was food poisoning, like a bacteria, and so the body is going to take from your system what you already have, whatever electrolytes that are already in your body, which isn't much for those that are getting sick, and it's taking all the moisture out of your body to then go after that offending toxin.
Okay, so she's saying that it's not the salty fermented cabbage water that's causing you to shit. It's the fact that all the moisture is being drawn out of your body to help also draw out all the bad stuff, the candida, as she likes to put it. That's quite a claim.
So then you get depleted of your electrolytes because the body is taking all the electrolytes and the minerals and it's taking all the water, and so then you're left dehydrated, having to then go to the hospital to go get rehydrated with those saline bags. And you feel like crap when you are, when you have diarrhea. Okay, so that's diarrhea.
Oh, no, she was just describing diarrhea. Apologies. My bad. It's so close to waterfalls. How could I have made that mistake?
And that actually causes you to be dehydrated. So when you get food poisoning and you're shitting in the toilet for like hours and hours and hours, your body is taking from your system. You're not adding anything to your system to contribute to that event. Your body is taking what it already has, but it's not much, or you wouldn't be getting sick in the first place.
What? By what? What do you mean by that, Jillian? Or you wouldn't be that sick in the first place? Sometimes you get diarrhea because of something you ate or something you drank. And that's how it works. That's also what's happening with your Jilly Juice. What's the difference?
Okay. Waterfalls, completely different mechanism. You're taking in... These are the electrolytes. you're bringing this
Salty cabbage water.
in. This is what's going to trigger waterfalls. This is cabbage, water, and salt, and kale.
Oh, I forgot the kale. My bad.
I actually have this in a 24-hour ferment on Thursday, and then Friday I didn't put it back in the fridge. I kept it out the whole weekend that I was gone.
Thank you, Maven906, for following.
And then it came back, and it was super fermented. It almost had really trippy.
What the frick is this? This is Jillian Epperly. She's talking about how her fermented salty cabbage water will cure your cancer, and how the diarrhea it gives you is in fact not diarrhea.
I would say very pungent smell to this, okay? So this is what causes waterfalls. This is very different. This is electrolytes. This is what you'd be going to the
It's got what plants crave!
hospital for in a saline bag, but you're not going to get all the nutrients in a saline bag. All you're getting in the B. Braun McGaw saline bag is just dextrose and saline water.
So she's saying because when you go to the hospital, you will get a saline drip, which is to help you get fluids and then hold on to those fluids. Because salt in small doses, like in things like Gatorade or Powerade, any of those kind of drinks. A little tiny bit of salt, so little that you don't even taste it. It's a very sweet drink. And it's in saline bags, can help you hold on to water weight and maintain it. However, she's having you drink super salty water. It's almost as salty as, like, there's instructions on her website. It's almost as salty as, like, seawater. Your body will expel that. It won't help you hold on to the water in your body. It'll do quite the opposite. It'll make your system try and flush out because it's like, holy shit, salt water. This is really, really bad for me and my kidneys.
That's it. You're not getting the nutrients from the cabbage and kale. So you may, in the hospital, get rehydrated, but you're not going to get the building blocks to repair the damage that the mutations from the flu and the dehydration caused you when you were when you had to go get admitted to the hospital.
Mutations from the flu. Does she think the flu mutates you? Am I gonna start shooting, like, Cyclops beams out of my eyes the next time I get the flu? If so, that's pretty fun. But, for some reason, the cabbage water will prevent this. It's a completely different process. Okay.
So this is actually going to re-infuse your body with electrolytes.
Baja Blast, who is a fourth-year PhD student and works studying stem cell research and knows a lot about biology, is freaking out about this. I don't blame her.
Create antibodies to then go after the offending toxins that is causing your issues, and it cleans the pipes out.
Cleans the pipes out. That explosive, awful saltwater diarrhea, it's gonna clear you right out. Now, it might, but so would, like, a coffee enema, and I wouldn't recommend that either, so...
So that's why your body goes into an immune response, which is basically clearing out your intestines, healing and sealing your gut, so then you can absorb more nutrition to then repair the damage.
So, the salty cabbage, the rotted salty cabbage water, is clearing out my intestines so they can self-repair. Here's the thing, though. Intestines and most parts of your body that aren't, like, the nervous system or, like, straight up if you, like, cut a limb off, cells repair over time by, you know, replicating. So why can't my intestines repair themselves just by, you know, eating right, exercising, making sure I get enough sleep? That's kind of like part of the biological process, is growing and repairing cell function. Why do I have to shit my brains out for this to happen, Jillian?
That was done. Okay? So that's the difference. So we're giving our body the carrier force, which is the water and the salt, and then also the nutrition that is then going to cause, you know, your body to then release and kill out anything that doesn't belong. The foreign objects, the parasites, the fungus, the virus microbes, the bacteria, everything, even the extra heavy
Never listen to someone who films vertically for this long. Yeah, it's annoying.
metals that you guys accumulate over time. Because you know why you have heavy metal poisoning is because your gut is not able to filter out the excess heavy metals, and guess what? you are harboring excess heavy metals, and is causing DNA methylation, which is causing all of your mutations, which is causing cancer, disease, and chronic illness, because you are taking in elements that are causing mutations to your genetics.
Too much salt causes cells to swell and explode because of osmosis. Literally kill me now, says Baja Blast, who is, again, a fourth-year PhD student.
And then what you're doing is you're sustaining those mutations, which is now in homeostasis.
Oh god, she's come in person to scream about Jillian.
She mentioned DNA methylation, which is my wheelhouse. I do research on reproductive and developmental genetics, so I know a lot about DNA methylation. I don't know what she thinks the fucking, like, flu is causing DNA methylation. So basically DNA methylation is...
Who is this? Oh, who is this other woman? This is my girlfriend, Baja Blast.
Hi. So DNA methylation is part of epigenetics, and what that means is literally on top of genetics. So DNA methylation isn't something having to do with like your actual DNA code, because that doesn't change unless there are mutations, and that happens very, very, very rarely as long as your cells are doing things correctly. Cells that have mutations a lot of times become cancer. And so the cells that have mutations are probably going to be like cancer or precancerous. But anyway, so DNA methylation occurs throughout time due to environmental factors, age, like those kind of things. It's not going to be due to a flu virus or candida, which is a yeast, and it's found in your body anyway. It can be harmful if you have a compromised immune system. So, like things like thrush and yeast infections, those are candida. But those really only affect children and people that, like elderly people that have compromised immune systems. Thrush isn't going to hurt you if you're a healthy person. People that think that there are all of these crazy shit going on with candida make my blood boil.
You, by the way, we're only one stream away from getting emotes. You gotta you know the one you made where it's like you with the book? Mm-hmm. You should put text that says Baja Blasted on top of that.
Aren't we 2 streams away? It's the 5th one.
This is the 6th. This is the 6th one, I think.
Mm-mm.
Let me double check.
The 5th one.
Well, I'll look at it later. Either way, we're 1 or 2 streams away.
Okay.
Very excited.
Yeah. And people will get to subscribe.
Yes. This is 5? Okay.
Does anybody have any questions about DNA methylation? Because I'm, like, hyped.
Or just blasted.
One day I'm going to be a professor that teaches genetics, so...
You should show the Jilly Juice videos.
I wouldn't ever subject my students to that.
You shouldn't be like, this
No.
is how uneducated people are.
No, I'm going to be a TA next spring, and no, that's not going to happen. That's fine. It's hard. Genetics is hard. I somehow was very, very in tune with understanding genetics. It was just something that I was good at from the time I was young, but it is very, very complicated and hard for people to understand. So, especially when you start talking about like DNA methylation and epigenetic stuff, because that's not as straightforward as genetics, because that's just, instructions. And then, so if you're reading a recipe, that's what DNA is. And then if somebody annotated the recipe or, like, blocked things out so that you couldn't see it, that would be, like, DNA methylation.
Railcast asks, aren't the enzymes... But do you mean aren't there enzymes that can demethylate DNA?
Yeah. So there are enzymes that demethylate DNA. A lot of the times, once there are methylation marks, they stick around. So the demethylation enzymes, they work when the DNA is being replicated and it removes the methyl marks. So the DNA replication machinery can get past it, but then those methyl marks are added back in. Because one of the strands that's not being replicated at that point still has the methyl mark, and so methylase will come in and methylate the other strand.
I love you so much.
I try. I try. There's also, here are some fun words. Not only methylation, there is ubiquitination and acetylation. And those do different things. So methylation, mostly, if you get something is methylated, it means it's going to turn it off. So if a gene is methylated, it will most likely not be making proteins. If it's acetylated, that's like what we consider an on switch, which this is just general. It's not always that way. Acetylation, usually, if a gene is acetylated, it means it's on. Ooh, how much do I know about CRISPR-Cas9? I know quite a bit about CRISPR-Cas9. So we use that in my lab to knock out certain genes. So I can basically give like just a brief overview of what CRISPR-Cas9 is if you want. Bye, Crimson 11. Enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, ubiquitination was discovered recently. So basically, CRISPR-Cas9 is a system for editing genes, and it's based on a protein that was found originally in bacteria. And you can basically teach this enzyme what to look for. So you add a little guide, it's called a guide RNA, to the enzyme, and it will go and find where that region of the DNA is, and it'll cut at a very specific place, or what we think is a very specific place. There have been studies showing that it can mess up and cut wrong places sometimes, but it's less frequent than, you know, any of the other ways that we've been trying to edit DNA. And so basically this enzyme will literally just go and cut the DNA, and then you have another extra piece of what's called homologous DNA, and that is a region of DNA that matches the DNA you're going for, and that will then insert itself. So you can add things to the DNA, or you can just cut it and see if like that gene will go away, or you can delete things you can cut in two places.
So when I asked, so methylation and acetylation are ways to attenuate gene expression?
Yes. Yes.
I understood some of those words.
We are talking about CRISPR-Cas9. Oh, that's a really, really good question. Gray Fox.
Can this work in living organisms or only in embryos or individual cells?
So it works best in embryos or individual cells. So the lower the cell number that you have when you're trying to do this, the easier it will be. So basically, imagine that you are trying to paint like a bunch of houses. It's easier to paint 2 houses than 200 houses. So what basically CRISPR-Cas9 does is it goes in to the genome and edits it. That's in one cell. So to be able to target all of the cells, you need to have as few cells as possible. So ideally, we would be doing this editing at the zygote stage, which is 1 cell embryo, which we're not even close to being where CRISPR-Cas9 could be used in embryos. Somebody says that they have used it, and they probably did, but it wasn't safe what they did. But yeah, so it can work in living organisms, but it would be on a much smaller scale. So it would have to be targeted specifically to certain cells, and
Like,
you would just be, you'd be like taking a shot in the dark.
Like, it wouldn't affect all of your cells, but let's say you have a specific heart genetic defect, they might be able to target heart cells at some point. And, okay. Someone says, what are the possible applications for this treatment? Iris Silly asks.
Basically, what the hope is for CRISPR-Cas9 is to be able to treat things before they become problems. So if you know that you carry a genetic disease, like I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which we don't know the gene for it yet, but it is thought to be a genetic condition. It runs in my family. So if you know that you have the possibility that you might do that, you could go to a genetic therapist. This is all years and years and years, probably decades into the future. And you would say, hey, I might pass this on to my offspring. And then, so they would take your eggs out, and this would all be like in vitro fertilization and stuff. And they would test the embryo and see if it actually has that gene. And if it does, then they can introduce CRISPR-Cas9 and get rid of that malfunctioning gene and replace it with the correct one. Okay. So we don't use any of the Cas variations. Right now, we just use CRISPR-Cas9 in my lab. I know that there have been massive improvements recently in, CRISPR-Cas. We haven't really started doing any of those. I haven't been in lab in months, unfortunately, which is really sad for me. I'm kind of anxious to get back, even though it's stressful sometimes. Let's see.
Do you think CRISPR will trigger eugenics wars prophesized by Star Trek?
So there are huge concerns about, like, eugenics. That is not what responsible people want, right? So we aren't looking to make designer babies. That's not what we're researching towards. It's not. Are you
concerned at all that capitalistic interests?
Oh, yes, I am concerned. Trust me.
Okay.
I am always concerned about how science will be used. Does CRISPR include a way to slice the inserted DNA, or is that a separate enzyme process? So CRISPR-Cas9 has the ability to slice, as far as I know, or it recruits something. I can't remember. I'm fuzzy on it at this point. I haven't. So the person that uses it in my lab, he's our lab manager. So I haven't used it in a while. In terms of genes and stuff, I'm hoping there's something like that for dementia. Yeah. It would be really nice if they could find like a definitive cause for dementia and be able to do that. Right now, as far as I know, there isn't a specific cause. Could this be done theoretically with a vector to change a person's entire DNA for certain systems of the body? So targeted CRISPR-Cas, there are some people working on trying to use viruses as a vector for CRISPR-Cas9. So like lentivirus that will incorporate into the genome, and then if they're carrying the CRISPR-Cas9 sequence, it will get turned into protein, and then it can go and edit that genome that it's in. They also can use, so something that's been done now to kind of try and prevent off-target effects. So that would be if CRISPR-Cas9 started cutting places that you didn't want it to. There have been people that make CRISPR-Cas9 so that after it cleaves one part, it will cleave itself.
Okay.
So it can't just go off and do a bunch of different things.
This girl is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Where did I find someone so damn smart? I got very lucky.
Oh. Could your body recognize the parts of your body with new DNA as foreign and reject it? Not usually. So the things that cause like graft versus host disease are antibodies, and those are normally not targeted towards DNA, because if they were, they could also identify like your DNA in healthy cells that haven't had CRISPR done on them. So unless you have some sort of autoimmune condition that does target DNA, which is very rare, you wouldn't have to worry about that, because it's not like you're getting whole new cells. Do designer babies right now to it? Yeah, so people can do designer babies. You can like choose what embryos you want. You can choose if you want to have boys or girls based on, they'll genotype all of the embryos that you have, and if you only want girls, they'll just implant the female embryos. When do responsible people get what they want, though? That's very true. Years ago, saying that in the future biohackers could pull hair out of a hotel room and make copies from people. Not sure if that's plausible. So no, not really. Basically, what you need to clone somebody is you need actual like cells. I don't think there are enough on a hair follicle to do that. If in theory, if you wanted to clone somebody, you would have to take one of their cells, lyse it open, and take out just the nucleus. Then you would have to have a donor egg that you insert the theoretical stolen nucleus from. You put it into the egg and you fertilize it, and then it'll start dividing, and then that embryo will be genetically the same as whoever you took it from. That is so hard to do. So hard to do. I don't see it being able to do this kind of stuff with cloning for a very long time.
Yeah, but this lady's cabbage water will make what you're doing invalid, says the ending.
Oh, thank you. Somebody said that we were lucky and we make a cute couple.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got a BS in biology so I could sort of understand all of this. Oh, that's awesome. Congrats on your Bachelor's of Science in Biology. I also have one of those. I got mine from Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti, which the president was just in and forced to wear a mask, which was lovely. So Railcast, what about doing something simple like repairing the human vitamin C pathway? I'm assuming that you're talking about using CRISPR to do that, and in theory, like that would be easy to do as long as there's like a known mutation, and as long as you're, like I said, targeting like fewer cells. But then how do you get over specific cell histones to make a cell act like a stem cell? That is an incredible question. So that's called imprinting. So your cells, when they know, like when they differentiate to become what they're going to become, so like you start with a stem cell, and I love this so much. So this is basically what I'm working on, is stem cell reprogramming with using embryos as a model to understand what cells need to be stem cells. So if you're trying to get over histones, you have to have like demethylases for the histones. So you can have DNA methylation and you can have histone methylation. this imprinting so that the cell doesn't know what it is anymore is a huge challenge, and we still are trying to figure out a way to completely get rid of the epigenetic marks to make a cell truly stem cell like. And in my lab, we kind of have some theories about, making stem cells and why it's so inefficient. And some of the things that we are considering is that the cells remember what they were and want to try and get back towards that. So it's harder to, reprogram them. You need the root bulb with a live cell. Somebody else went to EMU. Nice. But then, because those cells are not well conserved, you probably have a lot of damage to the DNA. Yep. Hey, the life of Mal, I'm going to assume it's Mal. I failed bio, so I understand nothing. Don't worry about that. I have failed a biology course in my life. Sometimes the, teachers just don't know how to teach it. And now I'm 4 years into a PhD. So sometimes classes are hard and it's not your fault. I should drink some cabbage water and see if it cures all of my chronic illnesses. Yeah, same. If I could drink some cabbage water and not wake up in pain every single day and not have things dislocate constantly, that'd be nice. Yes, emu. I would love it if EMU, their mascot was an emu. Right now it's an eagle, and I think that was a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I love Eastern. The glee on my face. I genuinely love talking about genetics. It's super fun. This was not my plan. I wasn't gonna come in here, and then I heard DNA methylation, and I just couldn't. I was compelled by a force outside of myself. Wouldn't your described cloning procedure still result in a slightly different individual due to mitochondrial DNA? Yes, that is correct. So unless you also injected a mitochondria from your cell, there would be different mitochondrial DNA. Mostly mitochondrial DNA is important for, mitochondrial power. Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell.
I was going to say, that's the one thing I know about mitochondria.
So, yeah, a lot of the proteins that are made from mitochondrial DNA have to do with the energy pathways. So if your egg donor had a mitochondrial disease, then yeah, if you were cloning and taking a stolen nucleus and putting in the egg, they would probably end up having a mitochondrial disease. But also whatever is carrying that embryo, there can also be mitochondrial donations from the surrogate that's carrying that, which there's an article about a child with 3 parents.
Yeah.
And it's because paternal DNA, maternal DNA, and then the mitochondrial DNA from the surrogate. My teacher knew how to teach it, I just didn't get it. She taught forensics too, and I almost passed that. My forensics teacher in high school, he told me he was going to kill me and throw me in a garbage can. I hated him. Sushi Mom, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I love that show. You guys should do a science stream. I would really enjoy that, so I'm not gonna, I don't want to give too much away about myself because it's the internet and that makes me uncomfortable.
Thus the name Baja Blast.
Yeah, but I have done a podcast about my research before, so I really enjoyed that. Mitochondrial DNA is the DNA you get specifically from the mother. So That's a very complicated question. So there have been really, really super incredibly recent studies that show you can also get mitochondrial DNA from the dad. I'm not sure if that study has been replicated yet, but it was something like, oh, this is like crazy. Who would have thought that this was possible? But the consensus right now is, yeah, pretty much the mitochondrial DNA only comes from the mom. Don't mitochondria make a bunch of functional proteins too? I mean, functional RNAs. Yes, they do. As far as I know, I'm not really sure what else the mitochondria contributes in terms of like RNAs that can become proteins beyond what they do with helping like glycolysis and stuff. So I don't really know much about mitochondrial DNA beyond the fact that it contaminates everything. So when I'm trying to sequence things, there's just shitloads of mitochondrial DNA, and it gets really annoying. So we're constantly trying to get rid of mitochondrial DNA. I never liked biology in school, but I love hearing Baja's biology rants. Thank you. Yay, I knew a science. Baja, are you familiar with Martin? I'm not familiar with that TED Talk, the pro-cell experimentation, protocell. IDK, what powerhouse of the cell even means. So that basically the energy currency of the cell is ATP, and most of that is made within the mitochondria. So that's basically what it means. The more mitochondria you have, the better and more efficient your cells are at making energy. Do you think that autism might be rooted in the mitochondria because mitochondrial DNA changes have varying effects and severity? I have no idea. It wouldn't surprise me if there was some mutations in the mitochondria that can cause like neurological changes. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. If I'm being honest, I did everything possible not to take a neurobiology course. That was specifically something that I was not interested in.
May I continue
Yes.
shitting on the diarrhea video?
Yes.
I'm gonna come off like such an idiot after this.
Oh, shut up. No, you're not.
Thank you for the science.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a walking mutant. So if you are obese, you're a walking mutant.
Oh, God, what did she say?
She said, if you're obese, you're a walking mutant. I'm like the X-Men character, the Blob. Not familiar?
No. Oh,
If you-
everybody. Congrats to Hannah, who has lost 5 pounds so far. We've been going on 2-mile walks almost every day. So she deserves some praise, and we're going to keep going.
Any type of cancer, disease, and chronic illness, even a flu once a year, you are a walking mutant.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too.
So now there is got to be a point where people understand the difference and stop looking at one action as one specific scenario that is the same. No, it's all about context. That is why it is very hard and very difficult in the medical industry to hold anybody accountable for anybody's death or disease when
What? Malpractice suits happen all the time. Doctors need malpractice insurance literally for that reason.
we don't know what precipitated that action to begin with, considering all the factors that we are living in and creating. So now it's very important to understand science and elements, and then get how the laws of the human body work, and then understand what causes immune responses.
I'm like 99% sure you don't understand what causes immune responses, Jillian. You're talking about the fact that diarrhea isn't diarrhea when it's clearly diarrhea. So homeostasis interruptions have to do with 3 different things. Infusing your body with nutrition such as this. Nutrition, filling your body with rotten cabbage salt water. Thank you for following Finding Effie.
You get the waterfalls. Or taking a poison such as food poisoning, which are bad bacteria and bad undercooked food, and that causes your body to say, hey, we gotta get rid of it, and it takes away from your body. Or you
Thank you, Cattail13, for following.
Your body is used to, like drugs and alcohol. Those are the only 3 ways to interrupt.
Trevor Belmont says, wow, after that Vrumbaha, she really comes off, well, like yourself, but worse. Yeah.
Your homeostasis. And so this is the right context. This is giving your body the nutrition that you do not have to begin with, which is causing your body to...
What nutrition? It's rotten cabbage and salt water.
Finally...
And kale. A little bit of kale.
...be able to get rid of the excess crap.
You could get better nutrition by just drinking regular water and eating cabbage and kale in some other dish. This is actively draining you because your body is trying to expel it as quickly as possible.
That you've been accumulating your whole life, which is causing your aging, premature aging, cancer disease, and chronic illness, which is all the same thing. So I'm going to create a waterfall, but I'm not going to waterfall in front of you. I'm going to just drink this, and you guys will then understand how this works. All right. I wish these were smaller. Here we go.
Oh, she's gonna drink it. Miles Power, this is the video that's over here, actually. I'm not sure if you can see it. But the science behind Jilly Juice, he drinks a little bit in that, and he says it's just awful. Like, it's disgusting. It smells like exactly what it is. Like you took cabbage and kale and put it in a jar with salty water and left it on the counter for a day and a half.
Sugar. You stay. No sugar. I'm on.
How much salt is in that drink? That's a good question. Jilly Juice instructions. Jilly Juice. Oops. That'd be why. Origin spread backlash. Is there a recipe? Jilly Juice. Official website of Jilly Juice LLC. Kosher salt. Oh, you couldn't get a higher res picture than that, Jillian? Come on. You can. I believed in you. I'm looking just for. Maybe on the Rational Wiki? Salt poisoning. Various basic facts about water and salt. Song of Salt and Poo. Salt poisoning. Again, no, I need the instructions, though. One tablespoon of salt for every 2 cups of water. 2 cups of pureed cabbage allowed to ferment for 3 days. Jillian Epperly encourages people to drink up to a gallon of her Jilly Juice recipe per day, which has an estimated 8 tablespoons of salt. So that's the amount of salt. 1 gallon is 12 days worth of your sodium intake. Yeah. Wait, can't that kill your kidneys? Yes, absolutely. Yes, it has. It can and does.
On the phone.
Oh, God. This has got to be so fucking disgusting. This poor woman. I mean, she brought it on herself, but, like...
The taste is so weird. Since it has been fermented, like, a long time, and it's straight up kale, it has the weirdest taste to it. It's very strong. Very, very, very strong. Holy crap.
Is this terms of service? I think it's fine.
But you know what? This is all nutrients. This is what my body is going to be absorbing. Like, seriously. My body does not have to take any energy to break this down. You know why? Because it's already been broken down for me. And there's lactobacillus in here.
That's not how the body works. What are you talking about?
Hold on, sugar. I'll let you out in a minute. So, I don't have to utilize my energy in my body to break any of the cabbage or kale down. This is straight up kale. This is the kale that you guys know and love. So, and I'll tell you what, it will take some of you a while to be drinking a very fermented kale drink. Because I fermented this longer than the 3 days, longer than the 24 hours. And I used a 24-hour ferment to seed this culture. And then I left it out for 3 or 4 days. So you guys can leave out your ferments for as long as you want, just as long as you mix and stir the top. And I'll tell you what, there was a little bit of, like, you know, fuzzy stuff on the bottom, on the top, but I mixed it all together, so that's probably why it contributes to the different taste on here.
So it was literally growing mold, fuzzy mold, and instead of going, maybe I shouldn't put this in my body, she chose to mix it in with her fermented salty cabbage water and drink it all together. It would be redundant for me to say this is incredibly awful for you, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You're gonna kill yourself, Jillian. What are you doing?
But that's okay. Because the salt and the lactobacillus killed all the pathogens. Sugar, I will. You gotta lay down, okay? I'll let you out in a minute. I promise, okay? I will let you out, I promise. Just go lay down.
How is she not dead? That's a good question.
Okay?
I actually don't know how old Gillian Epperly is. Let's see if I can... She have an age on the Rational Wiki. Is it... Age? Control F. Age. Ah, cabbage. Dosage. Yeah, funny. Okay. Wikipedia. Chili juice is a fermented drink. Gillian May Tai Epperly, who has no medical or scientific background. She has garnered medical scrutiny for controversial claims. Origins. Gillian Epperly, the creator of Jilly Juice, was born in Vietnam. She moved to the United States in 1975 before the age of 2. So 75 to 2000, 25 plus 20. She's like 47-ish at this point, I guess.
What do you want? What? I know, but we can't. But what do you want? What? Sugar. Ah. Okay.
I really hope she doesn't feed this shit to her dog.
Hold on. No, sugar. She's right here. She's just trying to, I don't know.
Yeah, all kinds of mold
Okay.
byproducts are carcinogenic. That
All right.
doesn't surprise me. The thing is, though, she thinks cancer is caused by candida. So...
Drink this, because my dog is, she's right there. Hold on. You see? What?
The Stellar Sea Cow says, my grandfather literally ate a sausage that was left in the oven for 4 days, and he was fine. He used to eat pizza slices out of the trash at my birthday parties. He never got sick. If you just expose this stuff to yourself to this stuff, you're normally okay. He probably got very, very lucky doing that kind of shit. Yes, your body can get resilient to an extent against really gross, like, not sanitary stuff. But you're always rolling that dice of getting something your body just can't fucking overcome. Like Bill Murray in Osmosis Jones when he says the egg and the chimpanzee puts it in his mouth and then Bill Murray eats it anyway. You're one Bill Murray egg-eating scene away from getting super virus or super parasite. I don't know.
All right. Okay. So anyways, waterfalls completely different than diarrhea, and
You haven't expressed why that is the case other than you think it's different because it has salt in it.
that's what needs to be, differentiated, is that there's a very different action when it comes to this. So, all right. These are really large glasses. Whoa! Whoa. This is some seriously strong stuff.
Oh God, are all fermented drinks inherently alcoholic? Yeah, live processes, but there are other types of fermented drink, and they're not all alcoholic. Okay, I wonder if Jilly Juice is alcoholic or not. Like, does she get a buzz off it? Probably
Hey,
not
Tanya,
a ton, but she does ferment the drink.
See? And you know why I can drink this, even as strong as it is? Holy shit. Is because
Sodium, Noodles Lolcat says, sodium is used by cells to remove water. If they have too much water in their cellulose, this is why you get dehydrated by drinking salt water. The diarrhea is caused by the cells in your intestines releasing water into your large intestine, because of osmosis, as was pointed out by Baja Blast earlier.
I want to reach the ultimate. Whatever that ultimate is. I have such a desire to reach the ultimate. Hey, thank you, Laura Jane. I mean, I'm going to be 45 February 5th, okay? So I want to look like, I don't know how far back I can turn the hands of time back, but I would say that, the body stops maturing maybe at 16 or 17 or 18, maybe 25. I don't know. Maybe when your insurance goes down, because I figure that you are an adult, right? So maybe the insurance industry knows that at 25, you're not a kid anymore with stupidity all over you. You actually finally
Kombucha
can have
is mildly alcoholic,
a thought in your head that could be a bit more proactive and not make stupid decisions. So they lowered your insurance at 25 because now you're finally grown up, right? But, little do they know that our society is way behind the 8 ball. So they may have to lower that or actually raise the age for discounts when your first discount. All right. So anyways, and this right here can be used topically and internally, douching, ears, nose, mouth, everything. Okay. So not only does this clear out the pipes, but you can use it topically on your body. So,
Hold on, I gotta go back and listen to that again.
Everything, okay? So not only does this clear out the pipes, but you can use it topically on your body.
Okay, so you should take your salty fermented cabbage and kale water and rub it on yourself for health, for reasons. That's gonna dry out your skin too because it's salty water. That's not good.
So, I want to be the only.
Yeah, don't put jelly juice in your vagina. Don't put it anywhere near you. But especially don't put it there.
I want to see what normal is for me. The frontal lobe is fully developed at 30. Jesus started his journey at 30 also. Oh, interesting. Okay. Good to know, Maggie May. Thank you. So, I want to look like I'm 30 or 15 or 16 or whatever, okay?
Why would you want to look like you're 15? 15-year-olds are idiots. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm an idiot too, but I was a bigger idiot at 15. Why would you want to look 15? That's disgusting.
But that's exactly what I'm shooting for. So I will always be, and even if I eat off the diet even a little bit, and I do eat off the diet a little bit, right? But guess what? It's only minimally. I only eat like a little bit of stuff that's off the diet. And I've already reversed all my issues. So then what I do is I drink a shiz ton of this.
Yeah, Baja Blast says, you shouldn't douche at all. Your vagina's self-cleaning. Yeah, you're really not supposed to douche. It's not good for your pH and stuff.
So that way I keep the balance. Because it's not just the foods that I eat, it's the air that I breathe, it's the, the stuff that I watch on TV, it's just everything that causes crazy mutations. And so you want to be able to offset those crazy mutations, even by stuff that you see and people that you interact with. So that way you're not accumulating trauma. Because even reading some of the Facebook stuff that I see, that induces trauma. Some people have a lot of trauma in their lives and they pass it on to other people. So anything that you see in your newsfeed that you can't help but watch because it's right there, that is a trauma.
What? What do you mean that's a... What?
That is a mutation. Oh, you thought I was 35? Oh, awesome. Thanks, Kels. So that is why I drink a shiz ton of this. That way I can overcome all the mutations of what I read, of what I see, and what I hear, and what I breathe, and what I feel. And I notice everything. Everything. Every single thing that is negative in our world is a trauma that we are accumulating, and then it causes cancer, disease, obesity, and chronic illness. And
Wait, I'm very confused by what she's saying. Trauma, she says, causes cancer, obesity, all kinds of illnesses. In what way? Sure, trauma can cause many issues, actual, like, trauma. You can get PTSD, you can get other conditions that can make your life very difficult, but how is she linking this to cancer? Increased stress could possibly cause some kinds of cancer, but not, like, in a statistically relevant way.
negative thought processes. So now
Big
we
Booty
have to
2012 says, gotta DM my Friday night D&D group. Best of luck with the Jilly. Thanks. Hope your D&D game goes well.
offset all of those negative things, those negative elements, those negative attitudes, those negative people.
Watching Jilly
we have
Juice
to keep
gives me
regenerating so we
trauma, which is changing my DNA and giving me cancer. Yeah, we're all doomed at this point, aren't we?
Don't become mutated. That's what cancer, disease, and chronic illness is a constant mutation. And people don't know how to offset it. And then they look like they were, what is it, hung out dry or rode wet and hung out to dry or whatever that is. I forget that whole saying. I never get those sayings right. So this is a renewal.
science.
And it doesn't taste good for those that first start this. It's not going to taste good. Nothing good for you tastes good because what you're trying to do is get past the fungus.
That's not true. There are things that are good for you that taste good. Like, V8's alright. Like, not the tomato juice, but the fruit juice. I don't know. There's plenty of things that taste good and are good for you.
Fungus that's in your body that doesn't like the salt.
Apples,
You gotta get
yeah.
past the parasites in your
Berries.
body that doesn't like the nutrients because they want all of the cookies,
Salad,
cakes, and candies
yeah.
and negative energy. Okay? So, rode hard and put away wet. Thank you. Like, I never get things right. Yeah, some people look like they were rode hard and put away wet. And then they die a very young death. I've seen families where people have successfully died, in their 50s. And then they have kids and nieces and nephews that are on that same trajectory. Problem children, behavioral issues, all that. And when you see a kid with a behavioral issue or a
Yeah,
kid
she
that
said successfully died. Yep.
is sexual, they're on a death trajectory because the body knows that it's on its way out and it needs to make copies of itself. So we are
Jillian,
going to now
we're all on a death trajectory, okay? We're all gonna die someday. And that's something every human being and every living thing has to cope with, unless you're one of those immortal jellyfish, but even then, you're gonna die at some point. She thinks that the drive to want children is inherently caused, and it's a symptom of the fact that human beings aren't drinking her salty cabbage water and therefore won't be immortal. She thinks her cabbage water will make people immortal. She thinks this.
Finally recognize who's on a death trajectory, and that's everybody that has a problem in our society. That's everybody that is negative in our society is on a death trajectory because they're not drinking enough of this juice. Okay? So all I'm saying is that you guys need to drink and up your dosages. And this is for you too, Gail Demarest. I know you're dealing with Lyme disease, but you need to up your dosages.
You hear that, Gail? You dumb bitch with Lyme disease. You fucking drink your cabbage water, or else you're gonna be on a death trajectory, okay? That's why you're getting all horny and wanting to have children, because your goddamn Lyme disease has put you on a death trajectory. I needed this today. This is good.
Because anytime you speak a negative out of your mouth, guess what? That is a mutation that
Is
you are...
this what TLC's Waterfalls is warning us about? Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to, okay? No drinking, no drinking the diarrhea waterfalls.
accumulating. Okay? So we've got to learn all about what we're contributing to the world as far as, you know, negative energy and
Dude spanking dude says, this is stupid. Yes. Yes, it
causing
is.
mutations in other people. The slightest negative energy or negative thing is a mutation.
Negative thinking will cause mutations. Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters just needs therapy, and they'll stop shooting lasers out of their eyes, okay? Looking at you, Jean Grey, with your fucking space alien entity. No. No.
Got to stop contributing to that. So I am trying my best to find a way to speak to the people without differentiating between the categories that we've all come to acknowledge. And finally, I figured it all out. Nobody needs to be in a category. You're not your Lyme. You're not your, your cancer disease or chronic illness. You're not your, subscription to whatever you feel below the waist. You're not any of that. You guys are all human. And this is what's going to level the playing field if you understand this.
Racism and sexism, transphobia, homophobia, all will be cured with salty water diarrhea. Thank you, Jillian. You're the wild stallions of the real world. You're gonna bring world peace. Danny Elemental, thank you for following.
Okay? That's all I'm trying to get across. But I'm severely misunderstood by a lot of people because they still want to hold fast to their categories. They want to feel special. Everybody that puts a category onto themselves tries to find a way to set themselves apart to feel special. I don't feel special. I feel fucking amazing. I feel like you guys should feel. Okay? You all need to feel amazing. You all need to feel like you're no special or no worse than anybody else. I'm just a regular person that I have to go and do laundry. I watch TV sometimes. I watch stupid movies sometimes. I take care of my dog. I make dinner for my husband. And I just try to keep my head above water and then try to progress as best I can in our society. No different than all of you.
What does her husband think about all this? Like, her husband, does she make her husband drink the Jilly juice? Or is he just like, that's your thing? Nope, not touching that.
So you guys have access to all of what I have access to.
She'd be a perfect candidate for that show, My Strange Addiction. That'd be really good.
I'm just dropping seeds so you all understand how the universe works so we don't get caught up in these political bullshit that people are using to divide and conquer.
Danny Elemental says, if you have an identity, you just do it to feel special is one of the most galaxy brain takes I've ever heard. Yeah, it's up there.
So stop calling...
I'm concerned, is the Jilly juice the after product or the pre-product? Like, did that come out of her? No, that is the pre-product. It's a saltwater cabbage kale fermented mixture that causes the diarrhea.
Yourselves all these different activists. Okay? When you subscribe to an activist position, you are setting yourself apart from somebody else, and then you expect to be treated in a specific way, and when you do, some of you love it, some of you hate it. So let's not set ourselves apart from other people, and let's start uniting everybody.
So, if we drink your salty fermented cabbage water, it's going to bring down national barriers. No one will have an individual identity. We'll become some kind of salt eunuch, but in all facets. That, like, makes us all kind of neutral. That sounds awful.
And that includes truther and mainstreamer. And that includes Democrat, Republican. That includes, you know, all the different subscriptions to your procreation categories that are below the waist. Okay? You're none of that. We're just freaking human. And this is what's going to give us our humanity back, our mankind back. Cabbage water and salt, pre-digested, fermented. It's broken down so you can absorb and get your body back to where it needs to be. So you can stop mutating everybody else around you because you're pissed off at your sickness or pissed off at the world because you're not getting where you need to be.
Yes, sometimes I just go out on a bad day, and the people around me will start growing third arms and all that kind of thing with their mutations. It's really sad how that happens, isn't it?
And where you want to go. And that's right, Jamie. We are not that special. Everybody is the same. Nobody is different. So there's my little rant today. And I have stuff coming to surface.
About the tools of capitalism.
So, and this is freaking
Thank you,
strong.
Storm on Parade, for
This
following.
is so strong, I don't even know. I can't even begin to even try to explain or even... There's no words to tell you how strong this is.
Someone says what's really weird is this isn't a product. She doesn't make money from this. She just genuinely believes this. I know she used to sell subscriptions to her website to like exclusive forums and stuff, and she did make some money on that. She also has a book that you can buy on Amazon. I have a copy of it somewhere in this room, but I have like 1 million books of like weird pseudoscience and like creationist crap. So I have no idea where it went, but I really gotta find it. I want to read it sometime.
There's no words. But my dog ate some. I put some in her dish with, what did I put in it? Florets. Cauliflower florets that I fried up a little bit in olive oil. And so she ate the cauliflower florets, and then I put this in there, and so her skin, when you look at her belly, it's like a puppy's baby.
So she is feeding the jelly juice to her dog. That's fucking animal abuse.
Pig
Don't do
belly.
that.
So my dog is young and she's beautiful, and
Dude Spankin' Dude says, can I use jelly juice to grow a penis? If so, I hope I can take it and mine will fall off and like it'll just be a fully formed vagina. That'd be great.
she's awesome. So anyways, I know, Christine, I know you know how strong it is. All right, I'm gonna down this and I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna tell you guys, drink up. Don't stop drinking. Like, seriously, drink. Drink until you can reverse your aging process. Drink until you look like you're 20 or 30 years old. Like, seriously, drink as if your life depends upon it. Because your life does. And if you're aging in the Matrix, and you look like your age in the Matrix, and you're over 40, then you better do something about it. It's not just reversing a little bit of cancer, a little bit of eczema, a little bit of, disease.
X-Line 1336. Personally, I'd rather not have the uterus attacked, though. Yeah, I feel you there, too. I'll take fully formed vagina, but, like, a pre-done hysterectomy.
Or a little bit of chronic illness. No, it's reversing the aging process. So if you're out there, promoting whatever products you have, and you're still aging, you obviously have a disconnect. All right, here we go. I'm drinking the rest of this.
This is so bad for her. Like, she's nuts, but I really don't. I wish she wouldn't do this to herself. She's gonna die so young because of all the damage she's doing to her body.
Woo! That's freaking intense. I almost want to...
Dude Spanking Dude says, honestly, I'll never get why anyone would want a vagina. Dicks are more fun. Then again, maybe that's the trans male in me talking. I think it is, because, believe me, we're on We're trains crossing in the night. We're going different directions, but I feel solidarity with you just in the opposite direction. If I could, we could switch genitals and it would all work out. Unfortunately, here we are. I don't know. I hope everything goes well for you in terms of transition, whatever that entails for you.
Say that it tastes like shoe polish, but I've never tasted shoe polish, so I don't even think that's right. But it's so strong. Oh my God. A person who's just doing my protocol the first time would not be able to drink that. Because I left it out too long and I even mixed whatever was on the top, so it did change the taste. So if you guys have anything on the top of your culture, like of your drink, oh, I could eat, guys, but I can deal with it. I don't mind it being, tasting bad. Make sure if it's on the top, you scrape it off. Below the brine, everything is fine. I didn't scrape off the top, but,
If it rhymes, it has to be true.
You literally, girl, I can't wait to get to
That's the Johnny Cochran doctrine. That's how you know it's true.
your point. I know. I know. Believe me, I can't wait to get to whatever that is. So, yeah, maybe my dog, maybe she'll be like, a puppy or something, Right, Sugar? Right, Shuggy? Right, baby?
Ooh, that's
She's such a good dog.
old dog,
She
though.
really is. Say hi, Sugar. Say hi.
Oh. I know I'm just projecting my own feelings onto the dog, but in my head, all I'm seeing from the dog is just, oh, this fucking woman. Please stop feeding me salt water, you bitch.
So anyways, all right. I just wanted to say hello to you guys. I'm glad to see you. Missed you all. And what would I compare the taste to? Well,
There's
this right
6
now,
more minutes left. Why is she saying goodbye?
since I left Crystal Harrell, since I left it out for, longer and I didn't scrape off the top, I just mixed everything. So there might have been a little bit of mold on the top, but mold's not going to kill you when it's...
Dude Spanking Dude says, my brother, when I tell him I identify as a boy, deadass tells me, if you're a man, where's your penis? I'm constantly misgendered by my dad and brother, and I just stopped caring. That's really unfortunate. I'm sorry you didn't have supportive family members around you. I hope, at minimum, you have some friends who can support you and correctly identify you and, tell you you're valid, because you are. And I hope things get better for you over time as your family maybe comes to terms with your identity. If not, you can always kind of not spend so much time with them in the long term. I don't know. I don't talk to my dad anymore, and he's, like, super anti-trans. He's, like, super conservative, and he's awful. Not worth it. They're not worth the time or energy. Seriously. If someone's not willing to support you and their family, then they're not your family, as far as I'm concerned. So, I hope things get better for you. I think they will.
It's mixed in with like salt and the lactobacillus, because the salt and the lactobacillus, which is the bacteria byproduct from the fermentation process, does kill all pathogenic bacterias and spores and all that. So anything below the brine will kill anything that is pathogenic, hence why it is that it's so effective with this protocol. So, but if you do mix a little bit of the mold on top with your
Railcast says, PSA, please don't eat mold or anything that has mold growing on it. If you see a fruiting body, the actual mold is probably 30 to 100 times larger and can still produce toxins. Oof. Yeah, good to know.
your drink.
Florence says, went to dinner with wet hair Hannah, come back with pretty floof hair Hannah. Yeah, I do like how it looks after, like, a shower, typically, and once it dries out. Thank you.
Then it will change the taste. So it's always good that you scrape off the top if you see anything kind of weird, okay? But it's not going to kill you, because that is why we are killing all bacteria that's...
Spoilers! It may have killed someone who was already ill and decided to start the Jilly Juice protocol. At the very least, it certainly shortened their lifespan. I believe they were a cancer patient, and they were desperate, and they decided to start taking Jilly Juice, and they may have died anyway, but all the dehydration certainly didn't help. Let's put it that way.
It's bad in our system is because we have the cabbage, water, and salt. And I just
Is
wanna
this
show you
woman
sugar
dead?
right
No,
here.
she's still peddling this
she's
shit.
just such a sweet dog. Look at that face. Look at that face.
Leo Lily 19 asks, so I can ask, I'm sure you've talked about this before, but what was it that caused the realization that you're trans? Asking as a half-closeted trans girl. That's a good question. On some level, this is gonna sound crazy. On some level, I've always known. But literally, I had such cognitive dissonance about this. I would think things to myself regularly. Very regularly. Fucking daily. Where I'd just be like, man, being a man is awful. I really hate it. I don't like my body. I don't like being socialized as a man. I don't like how men interact with other men. I get along more with women. I feel like I identify more as a woman. But it was just this disconnect with me where I'd be like, but I can't broach this subject because that would mean I'm trans, which I am, and that would mean going through a really, really hard process, which it is. And that kept me from fully coming to terms with it until probably within the last 2-3 years. I finally figured out, I'm just getting older. I'm just turning more and more into an old man. Do I really want to waste the one and only life I have not living the way I want to live in a way that makes me comfortable, in a way that feels genuine to myself? So it just made sense for me. It's going to be hard, and it is, and I'm continuing to work on it, but I wouldn't have ever been happy pretending that wasn't the case, that I didn't want the things that I wanted and to be the person that I wanted to be. So I don't know. It's tough. I'm sure it's different for everyone, but that's just my personal experience with it.
See, she's just such a loving dog, and she's just so good.
Yeah, Noodles Lolcat says, a lot of us assume every man doesn't like their bodies or feels uncomfortable. Yeah, it's not the case. Turns out, men like to be men, and women like to be women. Hello. What's up? Hi. I love you too. Honey Bear Ghostly says, this is so relatable. These are my feelings too. It's good hearing it from someone else. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough coming to terms with it because it's hard in society to deal with this and to do what we need to do, but it's worth it, I think. I'm nowhere near my end goal right now, but even so, I feel so much better being open and honest. And I think it's easier just getting by day to day. My affect has gotten more natural for me. I'm not constantly trying to worry about how I'm presenting myself. So it's a good thing.
I hate to say it, but it tastes like sauerkraut. Yeah, it does taste like, well, that's the cabbage. The kale is very different. The kale is very different. See, look at that. She's so good.
Did you take these?
That's my little doggy. That's my little doggy.
Xline1336 says, I feel like I would be more comfortable if I went on HRT, but I also feel like all the issues that would cause for me would be more than it's worth. I don't know. I identify oddly strongly with you, but I still really don't know what I'm doing or who I am. And that's okay. Maybe you'll ruminate on this and think about it and decide that transitioning isn't something you want to do. That's fine. Whatever you decide is valid. It's your life, and you should try and live it the most authentic and real way you can that makes you comfortable with yourself. And if that involves transition, that's awesome. We're all here for you. If you decide that's not something you want to go through with, great. We're also here for you, Just continue at least being open and honest with yourself and having these discussions internally and maybe externally with some people if you can. I know I had a therapist that was very helpful in coming to terms with this and figuring out if this was really what I wanted to do. I haven't seen them in a while, but I actually need to make an appointment once quarantine and everything is over, just because they stopped taking my insurance, so I got to switch to a different therapist at the same counselor's office. But either way, as long as you're being open and honest with yourself about these things, you're on a journey. Life is a journey, and you're just dealing with that specific part of it right now. It's healthy.
She's a good dogger. She just loves it. Yeah, Sugar's a good girl. Yes, Sugar.
Yeah, poor dog. I agree.
And she cannot stay away from me. So, very good, Janie. I'm very happy that you have kids and people doing this, okay? So, I would do cabbage first, Crystal, and then, and then later, mix the two if you want. But
that's because the dog can sense death, woman, says Recoil Coil. That's funny.
I try both. Do like a culture that has both in it. Do a culture that just has cabbage in it. And then purple cabbage, I hear, is the best, which I do like, So just do experimentations. Do the green cabbage, the red cabbage, and then do the kale. Okay? And that is, that's going to be your experimentation. So, yeah, and my dog doesn't care. As long as there's little bits of chicken or, some of her favorite foods, she loves it. No matter what, she loves it. And I can hear...
What's she gonna do when her dog dies? Because her dog is probably gonna die before her. The dog looks pretty old. Is she gonna have to revise and say, like, oh, I guess the jelly juice doesn't make you immortal? Or is she just gonna say, I guess it doesn't work on dogs?
Her slurping it with her dog food, because she still has a kind of dog food. And then she also gets little treats here and there. I give her like real, marrow bones and stuff. So raw bones. And she's just a good dog. I mean, aside from...
Noodles Lawcat says, dogs staying close to you is a sign of sickness. Dogs... Sorry, a bunch of messages are coming in. Is a sign of sickness. Dogs are pack animals and rely on other members of the pack to survive if they are sick. That would make sense. That poor dog.
Her liking to nest and rip apart her bed, she's still a good dog. But other than that, yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go do some waterfalls and whatever.
Leo Lily 19 asks, do you ever have issues in your mind trying to think of itself as a man still? Like, ever since I discovered myself, I've thought of it as my dead name existing and trying to be male as a defense mechanism that's still trying to protect me even though I don't want it anymore. Yeah, even on stream the other day, I accidentally said, like, I misgendered myself once, and that was annoying. That hurt, especially because I did it myself, just because it's such a force of habit. And, what was it? Oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought. Just because it's such a force of habit, and I'm so used to using it as a defense mechanism. I know Baja Blast, my girlfriend, has mentioned, like, my entire demeanor changes, I guess, how I present myself, depending on where I am. Like, if I'm with her, I'm very comfortable, and I'm presenting myself as I am. But, like, if I go out in public, my defenses go up, and I act, like, I don't know, differently, more masculine. I act, I don't know. You know what I mean. It's tough. It's just something you have to plug away at and try and get more comfortable being open as yourself, because so many years of just, I need to defend this, I need to pretend to be something I'm not. It's tough to break those layers down.
But just, you can't overdose on nutrition at all. If you get thirsty, drink water and expect to get healing symptoms. If you do find your...
Yeah, Bailey Quinn says, I've been out for 4 years and on HRT for 2, and I still do this shit. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
You're getting symptoms, it's because your body is trying to heal. Never ever run away from pain when it comes to this protocol, okay? This is when you have to welcome pain. Pain is your friend when you're using and doing my protocol. Okay? So pain is healing. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Pain.
Dude Spanking Dude says, I've learned to be okay, even sort of like my bottom parts, but the top parts need to fucking go. I want to be shirtless, get buff, and get manly. Yeah, you do you. Yeet those teats. Get some pecs. Yes. I believe in you.
Is necessary. So, all right, yes, absolutely, Masa, and all of you guys. Have a great day.
Ugh.
You guys are...
Let me see if there's a short one or something, and then I'll move on to something else. Oh, there's just a how to make chili juice. Cannabis is a negative element. We could talk about that one. Oh, yikes. I saved a life of the lady who had a stroke on Dr. Phil. She went on Dr. Phil, and they had someone come on who was drinking her juice and had a stroke because of it. Because she was so dehydrated and had she had basically sodium poisoning and had a stroke. And she came on Dr. Phil and like talked to Jillian, and Jillian, of course, was very, very defensive about it and was like, it's not my fault, whatever. Finally debunking Dr. Phil's and Dr. Udim's attack on chili juice. Ugh. The dangers of exercise regimes coupled with holistic market. Sexual energy on the protocol, 5 minutes. Yes, please.
Hey everybody, this is Jillian, and I'm actually doing some videos for my website so people can, get some info regarding certain subject matters. So I want to cover sexual energy on the protocol. And the reason why is because sex is the body's innate understanding that the body's on a death trajectory. So
someone says cleanse. Then someone else says no cleanse, more trash. Maybe we'll do a cleanse after this one.
When you are sexually active, like way more, or wanting a baby, it means that you're on a death trajectory, which means that you better hurry up and do something quick, because your body is mutated. It's having
Recoil says, yes, nothing makes me hornier than thinking of my own mortality.
really mutated. And so you'll find when you're on the protocol, if you
Sadie Bub says, okay, I'm out. If you really love it, if you're really leaving, I hope you enjoyed the stream, other than this part.
are way on the other end of the spectrum where you're menopausal, it means your reproductive system is shutting down. And when your reproductive system is shutting
Thank
down,
you for following.
it means that you're going to be dying pretty soon. Not all the time, though, because sometimes biotech takes certain drugs and vaccines and they target the reproductive system to where you're still shutting down and your body's still mutated, but it won't want you to get pregnant. You won't be able to get pregnant because they found a way to shut down your reproductive system but still keep you alive so you can still be useful in the matrix.
Okay. So she's saying that because your body is on a death trajectory, as opposed to her immortality trajectory, which she believes she's on because of her salty cabbage water, your body is saying, we're going to die soon, we need to reproduce, so it makes you horny in response to that. None of this is evidenced. Obviously, this isn't the case. The biological drive to reproduce is something present in basically everything that can have a concept of biological drives outside of just automatic processes. It's an evolutionary thing. Things that don't want to fuck obviously don't have more offspring, and therefore they go extinct. It's kind of simple. I don't know why Jillian thinks that wanting to fuck means you're going to die soon.
But in the wild, when you are not exposed to all the different biotech
Yeah, what does it mean when I've never wanted kids? I'm not on a death trajectory? Yeah, I don't want kids either, so I guess I'm going to live forever. Great. Great. This for eternity? Awesome.
elements, such as the herbs and extracts, as well as all the different vaccines, your body's going to go through a life cycle. You see it in rabbits, you see it in animals, and they go through, let's say, a very short lifespan, especially with rabbits. That's why rabbits, they procreate like crazy, because they only have a 1 to 2 year lifespan. So, of course,
Hailey and Derp says, is she just a weird asexual person? Because if she is, then I don't want to be associated with her. She does talk in some of her videos about having basically no sex drive, and that she fucks her husband just to appease him, more or less, and she finds his desires, like, gross. So it wouldn't surprise me if she was asexual and just didn't know and didn't understand that, like, that's a thing. I have no idea, though.
they have to go and carry
She
their
certainly doesn't self-ascribe that label, so I'm not going to do so either. That's not up to me to decide.
species forward, right? So when you're on my protocol, you're now going from, instead of a death trajectory, going to a life trajectory, which means that if you are on the spectrum of menopause, you're going to find that you're going to get your period back at some point. Okay, it's not guaranteed, but based upon your intention. And then
Wait, what? She's saying, okay, once you hit menopause, you might get your period again, quote, based on your intention. Now, it's entirely possible that you can, like, go into menopause and stop having your period regularly, but still have it occasionally, or have it crop up once or twice, you're still spotting or whatever. That's a thing, but it has nothing to do with your actual intention to have children. It's not a conscious link where your brain's like, I want children, though. Menopause, bring my period back. That's not how it works.
you get your period back, and then you start becoming sexual. And your face is going to look younger, your body's going to look younger. You're going to be in that prime of these 20 and 30-year-olds who are having sex like crazy, looking like, they're ready to go in and get fertilized any minute. And then eventually down the road, you won't have a period. That's what you're aiming for, is not having a period and not being sexual.
Is she saying that Jilly Juice will cause you to stop having a period? Because that wouldn't shock me. If your body is so severely dehydrated so consistently, it's possible your body's like, fuck, we don't have the energy or the resources to, like, get you pregnant this month. Nope, not gonna build that uterine lining. We need that fluid elsewhere, because you're drinking salty water every day.
You're going to find
A gallon of it.
that, relative to where you are on the spectrum, you may have increased sexuality, and then you'll have a decrease in sexuality.
So she's saying, if you take the Jilly Juice and you've done menopause, you've gone through menopause, it's going to restart your period initially, and your menopause is going to go away, and you're going to be as fertile as a 20-year-old because of the salty cabbage water. And then, at a certain point, that nasty sexuality, which is a symptom of your death trajectory, is going to go away, and you'll no longer have sexual desires. That sounds... What? How did she come up with this stuff? I genuinely want to know her process.
And it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you, which means that your body knows that you're really, really healthy. It doesn't need to make copies of itself, because you're going to be the best copy ever. Okay? So that's why you see all these 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds wearing booty shorts. These guys are all about the sex and chasing after tail. You see these girls wearing, like, low, skimpy tops and dancing at the clubs.
They're allowed to wear what they want, Jillian. Why do you care?
Getting high and getting, tantric sex and all this other stuff.
20-year-olds getting high and having tantric sex like Sting. Maybe I have a different experience in my 20s than other people, but only half of what she just said is true.
Because their body's on a death trajectory. Look at the porn industry. They're on a death trajectory. Look at all the porn stars that are aging rapidly.
Okay, so porn stars age rapidly because they are in a death... She understands that porn stars aren't just, like, super horny people that decide to film it for fun, right? Like, the sex is their job. Like, they might not necessarily come onto set and be super horny that day, but, like, they're performers. They're doing a job. That has no bearing on their actual sex drive. They're separate things.
They have that one window of opportunity to make all their money and promote sex, promote death, and then they die in the Matrix. That's what our...
You don't want to die in the Matrix, because if you die in the Matrix, you'll die in real life.
Society is built from. It's built from a death culture, which is why we're so heavily sexual. So you will notice when you're on my protocol, you're not going to be super.
What about gay women who want to have sex with women? Jillian believes that homosexuality is a mutation, and her juice will cure it. So she believes if you are gay and take her Jilly juice, you'll initially become straight for a while, and then after you had enough, you'll like become asexual or something.
Super sexual when you start reaching that point of where your body knows now it's on a life trajectory. And I know this is revolutionary for a lot of people, and this could really definitely challenge programming, because we have tantric artists out there. We have people who are polyamorous. We have then the LGBT community that really is based upon sexual orientation. When your whole life is about sexual orientation, you're on a death trajectory, no matter who you are. Gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. When your life is about sex, and that is your identity.
Okay, that's a misconception that I assume all of you understand, but just to be clear, being transgender is not about fucking. It is not about sex. It is not a sexual orientation. It is a gender identity. Now, those two things may interface, like the fact that I currently have a penis. I'm not thrilled about that, and it causes me, like, issues in terms of, like, being able to be present and, like, enjoy sex fully because of that. But gender identity is not a sexual identity any more than being cisgender is a sexual identity. It's just your gender identity. It's different.
You are on a death trajectory, no matter who you are, because there's straight people who are very, very polyamorous, super sexual, on a death trajectory, and they have mutations, and they're taking all these different herbs and supplements and detoxes to try to reverse their mutations, but they're going down a very treacherous path. And then how they manifest that is they go through tantric sex, polyamorous sex, basing their life on porn and chasing tail.
Okay, that's a lot to pack into. Okay, so she's saying tantric sex, which is just sex where you prolong or completely avoid climax, because it, over time, I guess, makes you be able to have sex for really, really long times, like hours and hours, until you want to pass out. If people want to do that, great, good for them, awesome. Who cares? Oh god. What else did she say?
Polyamorous sex.
Polyamorous, okay. People who want to be in, like, thruples or quadruples or whatever, who cares? It's their life, they're consenting adults. Great. If that's how they live their lives, that's awesome. Good for them. I find it difficult. I found it difficult enough to find one person that I care about so much and love, like Baja Blast. If you can find multiple people and you're into that, great for you. What else did she say?
Basing their life on porn.
Basing your life on porn. Who is basing their life on porn? At worst, you're gonna get some young men or women who have some, how do I put this? Incorrect assumptions about how sex actually works if their only introduction to sex is pornography, as it is in many places where there's, like, abstinence-only sex ed, which is not good for kids.
And chasing tail. No different than the LGBT community, when all their whole focus is on the best sex with the same sex or transgender sex partner. So no matter what, gay, straight, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, you're all on an equal playing field of on a death trajectory, no matter who you are.
I'm going to finish up streaming around 8 o'clock, by the way, just so everyone knows. I'm going to probably do a cleanse after this, like just some benign or nice video, and then we'll watch at least one more thing or something like that.
So now we're going to be addressing the death trajectory and turning it into a life trajectory, which means sex is not going to be the
Am I in Central or Eastern time?
First thing you wake up to or focus on. You're going to have a higher purpose than just your baser instincts. And that's really, really huge in this day and age when we have our whole society and climate based upon the best orgasm. I mean, look at Cosmo, look at GQ. All they're focusing on is young, sexual people.
Yeah, that's what the magazine is about. It's about relationships and sex and, like, beauty tips. That's what Cosmo magazine is. Like, it'd be one thing if you were, like, It's Life magazine and the main cover spread this month is how to achieve the best orgasm. Like, that's not You specifically picked a magazine that's about those things, Jillian. Do you understand the flaw in your thinking here?
The reason why? Because they're on a death trajectory.
Also, who the fuck reads magazines?
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right. That's her weird sexual... I don't know. I don't want to watch Blaire White today, so let's use this tab. What should we do for a cleanse, people? What do you think? I'm going to wait for someone to say something. A new drinking game every time she says death trajectory. No, that would be real bad. You'd get very, very drunk. Someone says, personally, I'd rather be a lesbian and be on a death trajectory than drink salty cabbage water. Yeah, I feel you there. Your liver would probably last longer than it would on Jilly Juice. Yeah, true. Aw. The puppy loves the mud. Ugh, the poor owner that's gonna have to clean them later. At least they're letting them have a good time, though. Hopefully they have a Jeep or something that won't get super dirty. Oh, he's got a little piano. Aw, that's super cute. Dude Spanking Dude says they have something better. If you'd like to post a link, I'll check it out. Someone posted something in the...
Welcome.
Oh yeah, I've seen this guy. This guy's great. He does like old recipes. He's like, I actually don't know what his actual like job or whatever is, but he's like a historian and he deals a lot in old-timey food. So he does classic like dishes from hundreds of years ago. It's really, really interesting. Let's see what the other one was.
The cat is
3 minutes. Let's watch this and then some of this.
wild.
Oh.
Should I let him free or should I take him with me?
Yeah, Townsend's. Poor kitty. Oh.
I don't know. The cat is wild. So, she wants to go out. Maybe she will attack me.
So, what I'm gonna do? Should I let him free or should I take him
Take
with
that
me?
cat. My roommate might be moving soon. I have no idea. But if she is, she's taking the cats that you may have seen in this stream because they're her cats, Kiki and Charlie. I'm gonna miss them so much, but I'm gonna get a cat like right away because I'm gonna miss having a cat. I never had a cat in my house before Kiki and Charlie, and man, I just love them so much. Dogs are great, but I'm more of a cat person, I've found. I like that they can be on their own and kind of do their own thing, but they're also very affectionate. It's nice.
The cat is in a good condition. Oh, its house is around, and it will not be fair for this cat to put here in my shelter with so many other cats. It will be disaster. All right. Ella, baby. Oh. You change your mind? You won't stay?
About the tools of capitalism.
What you gonna do? Nice and warm inside?
Thank you, Dual EXE, for following. Everyone who hasn't followed yet, now would be a great time to do so. I'm trying to get enough followers to keep my stream average high enough that eventually I'll be able to do Twitch partner, which would be nice.
6, 7, 8, 9. 9. 9. 10. You're not going nowhere. I will take you with me. So, my friends, I took the cat.
Oh,
at
she's
the
like
vet.
shaking.
That's why he's shaking a little bit now. I end up with some bites in my fingers, in my hand. No problem for me.
Jake says dual X. Well, no, EXE is like an execute command.
Nah, you don't need to bite me.
Hannah, quick question. When's the next Alive stream? That's a good question. Basically, I think we're just waiting until quarantine is over so we can all do it in person, because Jake is familiar with, like, Roll20 and I'm really not. Honestly, I like doing stuff like that in person better anyway. In terms of, like, improv as a DM, I think I'm way better when I can, like, feed off the other players, or the players' energy, and being kind of on the computer takes away from that a little bit, and then I just feel like a jackass making voices in my office. I don't know. It helps with my verisimilitude in terms of getting in the mindset of the character when I can look at the person in person that I'm talking to.
Oh, bless him. Now, let's try to pet him.
I can't wait to get back to it, though. For those of you who don't know, Alive is the D&D campaign I run over on actual Jake's channel. He does charisma saves, and I'm a player in that campaign, but for Alive, which stands for Entry Level Institute Violent Enforcers, which is the name of, like, the part in the organization the player characters are. It's sort of a spin-off of charisma saves. So go follow over there if you want to check that out sometime.
Oh, he showed me his teeth.
Someone says they missed Derek from Alive. Yeah. I'm gonna have to rewatch that VOD, because that was not a character I, like, wrote. That was an improv character that I came up with on the spot. So I'm gonna have to rewatch that to figure out exactly what the character is
Little more.
before we do the next one.
Little more. Hey, guy. Look, the wild boy.
Oh.
So different now. He's so calm.
Well, that's nice. Let's take a look at this. I love this guy. He's so great. He's so happy all the time.
To 18th Century Cooking, I'm your host, John Townsend, and for the first time ever on this show, we are doing 18th century pork chops, and they sound great. Thank you for joining us today as we savor the flavors and the aromas of the 18th century. So today's recipe is from the Universal Cook. This one is from Collingwood and Woolham's. There's another Universal Cook that we publish, which is by John Townsend, not me, but somebody from 1773. This one's 1792, so it's a little bit later, but it's a lot more of that sort of tavern cooking. These two gentlemen had an inn, a tavern, and that's what these recipes are from. This one is pork cutlets dressed another way.
I wonder if Jake's into this guy. It seems like something Jake could be really into. It's like both his things, history and cooking.
Some parsley, thyme cut small, some pepper, salt, and grated bread over them.
He is? Makes sense.
Fry them up fine brown. Take some take some good gravy, hopefully the gravy from the cutlets, and a spoonful of ready-made mustard, 2 shallots.
Oh, the emotes are from Jake. I guess I assumed Townsend had his own Twitch that he did stuff on, and that's where you're getting it from.
A little vinegar, if agreeable. Put the cutlets into a hot dish, pour the sauce over them, send it up to the table. It sounds like a great recipe. One of the things you'll hear about in the late 18th century, early 19th century are places you would get food, sort of like primitive restaurants.
Oh, he does stream, but on YouTube.
In the 18th century.
So far, I've liked Twitch's streaming interface, especially with Streamlabs, a lot better than I like YouTube's, because I've used YouTube's for a long time, and it's clunky and outdated.
Pork cutlets, basically the same thing for this kind of time period here. A little bit of salt and pepper. we've got our thyme. This is dried thyme. It's going to be a little easier to incorporate. And then we have a little fresh parsley. And now a little bit of the breadcrumbs. There we go. That's one side. Let's do the other side. Let's make sure that these
I gotta learn to cook.
Seasoned.
I haven't had
One
like a
of these
good
in a
like
nice
piece of meat,
quantity.
like either
Once
pork
we
or
have
or,
these
or like a
seasoned, we're
steak.
gonna put them in the pan.
I don't
with
even
some
know how
butter. We
long.
wanna make sure that our pan is nice and hot, so we get
Probably
a sear
years.
on that bottom.
I wonder how hard it is to like maintain a consistent temperature on something like that.
Once our pork chops are nice and seared, we can take them out of the pan, set them aside, keep them warm, and we're gonna make our gravy or our sauce. We're gonna deglaze this pan. So we're gonna put the pan back over the fire. We're gonna add to our shallots.
Yeah,
There should
my
be some
phrasing could have
drippings
been a
here
little
still in
better,
the
I
pan.
guess.
So we're gonna put these shallots in here that are chopped nice and fine. If you need some extra moisture in here, we're going to add broth. In the time period, they probably would have gotten a lot more drippings, or gravy as they call it, out of their pork chops. Even though the recipe talks about possibly adding some vinegar, I think our mustard is going to bring enough of that acidic flavor in that it'll be just fine. One of the classic things that goes in here also is a ball of butter rolled in
Tragically,
flour
Hipster
to
says I didn't
thicken
really
that.
like cooking until
Once
I got
this
one of
is
the meal
thickened up
subscriptions
nicely,
that actually
it's ready
has
to
you
be
cook.
poured
Yeah,
on
Jake I
top
think gets
of our
one. I
cutlets or
forget
pork
what
chops in this
which one
case.
it is, but I've considered doing it before.
There they are.
I don't know,
They
though.
look great. They smell tremendous. Even before they got in the pan, they smelled good. And so now the kitchen is smelling wonderful. Let's give them a try. I've got a little piece pre-cut. The shallots in this sauce really are a perfect
Looks great.
addition to this. It's
He's
got
eating all
everything
those
else
by
nice and
himself.
perfectly done.
I'd imagine there's
All
a
of those
crew
wonderful
there that's
spices
working
that
with
were
him, and he's
in
made some
the
for them
pork
too.
chop, and of course they've come
Or maybe
through
he'll
in
take
the
it
gravy
and
as well, and the pork
take it
chops
home.
turned out
I don't know.
just
Wouldn't be
the
as
right
good
kind
warmed up, I'd
of,
imagine, but still.
Tender, really, really good. And I'm not a big fan of mustard, but it is great in the sauce. Just that little bit of vinegary flavor that comes in. Perfect, perfect. Finally, we've gotten to do pork chops, and wow,
Looks amazing.
They are definitely worth the wait.
I wish
You've gotta try
we had
these.
sent,
this particular cookbook, the Universal
like
Cook
reproduction
from this,
technology, because I'd love to smell what
1792
this
time
smells like.
period. It is filled with very, very accessible, very doable, sort of, hey, tavern or steakhouse food, we might call it today, or in this case, chop house food from the 18th century. The perfect combination, a great, wonderful cookbook, and a super recipe. You've got to try this recipe, but if you want a similar one, check out this steaks fried in ale. It is really good too.
That was good. I might watch some more of that guy later. I really like him. What is this?
Hello. Today we're going to talk about the torus, a fundamental pattern in
Thank you, Darth Hayes 2, for following.
all of reality. I have a friend here with me as well.
I don't know if I want to watch this one right now. I gotta find something snappy, because I'm leaving in about 12 minutes. The Hidden Truths of COVID. Just under 12 minutes. Perfect. I just can't pause very much through this.
Something to fear, a quarantine enforcer, and even a deadly killer. And this is the reality we're collectively experiencing. And as the designers and creators of our collective reality, we must accept that we cannot always control the circumstances that befall us, but we can control how we respond to them.
Yeah?
If we were to take a look at COVID-19 from a higher perspective,
Oh,
we
they...
might just see a very interesting picture come to form. The coronavirus pandemic is potentially a wake-up call, a huge lesson for us, and even an opportunity for massive
Sure,
change.
that our leadership is
While the
incompetent
long-term
in many
results of the
places and
coronavirus
needs an
pandemic
overhaul.
are still yet to be seen, There's no question that it's
and that our
transformed
readiness
life
for
on
this
Earth
kind
as
of
we
thing
know it
isn't
by
isn't
bringing to
great.
the surface so many conversations that we need.
And
to
that a
have.
huge portion of the
Conversations
population are
such as
whiny
wet
babies that
markets,
can't stay
treatment of
inside
life,
to save people's
quarantines,
lives.
health, hygiene, and collective responsibility. But the thing is, absolutely none of these conversations are the beginning nor the end of the dialogue. They are all the results and responses to the experience of this pandemic. None of these actually address the higher understanding of the whole thing.
How soon until we hear the word
We
thoth?
can gain
Yeah.
a great deal of insight if we dig into the name itself. Coronavirus. Corona directly translates to crown from the Latin. By the nature of the name itself, what we are dealing with here is a crown virus, which it was named for after its characteristic crown-like protein spikes. The significance of the name crown here relates distinctly with two important areas of focus.
No.
The spiritual
It's
crown
it's
and the
you just
physical
said
crown,
why
both of
because
which relate
because
to
its little
topmost
pokey
and
things look
zenith
like
aspects of
crowns.
a system. We also see the word corona relating with a certain part of the sun, and we'll look at this soon. In these systems, the word crown generally relates to the organizing leadership of the higher order. In the physical systems, crown was the name for the headdress that was a powerful symbol of authority, and the name symbolically was then essentially given to those in power, like the king or the queen. And while it's not really used by democratic systems today, the word crown essentially still relates with the topmost of a social system. Now, in spiritual systems, we see the word crown being used to describe the Godhead. In both the chakras and the Tree of Life, the topmost sphere
What?
is called the crown. These systems
What
describe
does this
that
have to do with
important part of the human
coronavirus?
body, the top of the head, is the place through which we connect with a higher understanding, which allows us to develop greater wisdom and the inner knowing.
Are
that
they
all
just
things are
using
connected,
coronavirus
no matter
as
how
a
separate
free-form
and isolated
riff
things
on
may
whatever
appear?
thing comes into their
This
head?
is especially interesting given that isolation becomes one of our most valuable tools in combating the spread of the virus. The ancient wisdom describes that when the crown is blocked, or we are unable to connect with the higher expression of our interconnected nature, we create a reality of duality consciousness and live our lives as if everything is separate. And this is one hidden lesson that we find with COVID-19. What we believe to be true today is that the virus itself probably began within
This
wet
video
markets in
gave me
Wuhan. Now, there's some
coronavirus.
theories
Yeah.
suggesting alternatives to this, but for now, as this is the leading theory, let's continue with this idea. These are filthy environments for selling both live and dead animals, and these environments
Yeah.
are places that bacteria and viruses can easily mutate and spread.
Thank
It
you,
should come
big
as no
clown in
surprise
town,
when
for
you keep
following.
animals jammed into tight cages, experiencing terrible suffering while other animal carcasses lay strewn about everywhere. It's only logical that this becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and diseases to jump about from host to
Sure.
host, and eventually mutate its way into the very people who frequent these environments. Take a moment to consider just how much fear
Ron
and
Iced Tea
anxiety is
Cake,
being
thank you for
created by those
following.
animals in the wet markets. It's no surprise that something negative has come out of it. If we really knew that we were interconnected with all of life, we would most certainly treat these animals with significantly greater respect and create environments that would be clean and healthy for everyone and everything.
Sure.
Further, another lesson that comes from this shift to unity consciousness is the knowing that it's not exclusive to Wuhan, and it's not appropriate to point the finger at
Well, I think we didn't need a virus necessarily to tell you it's a bad idea to have dirty outdoor markets where you just have meat sitting out in the sun. Like, I think that's something we know. It just has to do with the fact that, like, you need people in those areas to be like, hey, this isn't something we're going to support anymore. Or, in the case of how China works, the government saying, nope, no more. As is right, the government has the right to come in and be like, your health standards are shit, you can't sell this stuff. I don't agree with China, though, in general, because they're authoritarian pricks, but you get what I mean. Thank you, Cats Are Neat, too, for following.
anyone but ourselves. In today's world, chickens, cows, pigs, fish, and basically every kind of animal that we actively use for mass livestock are treated horribly, with
Yeah.
incredibly poor living conditions. We just published a movie called Healing Your Body with Food, and I especially recommend watching it if you want to know the truth about where your food comes from. This conversation then fractals into nearly every aspect of our lives. How do we treat ourselves? How do we treat each other? How do we treat the environment? We are now seeing reports that global smog levels are at a collective all-time low, that nature is actually healing itself for every day that humans stay inside, demonstrating both
Yeah,
the living
because we're
vibrance
putting less
and the
shit into
power
the
of
air.
nature, and how we actively kill nature through the systems and technologies that we use to live our lives.
Sure, we knew that already,
Recently,
though,
there
too.
was even an article that the canals of Venice are not only running clear water, but also have fish swimming through them for the first time in 60 years. Think about this for a moment. Our collective pandemic, which has caused us into isolation, has allowed for nature to begin to thrive day by day. That's kind of remarkable. But what's to stop us from going right back to our old ways the moment the pandemic ends? We really have to take this
Nothing.
seriously,
Capitalism
because if we
ensures that
only
all these
focus on
destructive
ourselves
policies
and
will
our
continue
survival during this pandemic,
as soon as
and not
possible.
everything else,
They're
like the
already
effects
trying to
of our
open
civilization on the
everywhere
world,
with as few
well,
restrictions as they
I'm
possibly
concerned that
can.
There will only be more suffering to come until we learn these lessons. Now, as mentioned earlier, we also see that corona not only translates to crown, but is also the name for a particular aspect of the sun. Specifically, the sun's corona is an aura of plasma that surrounds the sun and
Yeah,
other
this is
stars,
pretentious.
and extends millions of kilometers into outer space, and is most easily seen during a total solar eclipse. Now, speaking
And-
of the sun is essentially the crown of our solar system.
That's
In
a stretch.
Long, almost forgotten past, the sun was seen as the essential soul, the visible God in the heavens, and a demonstration of the power of the supreme oneness. You might even be familiar that long ago, the sun was given the name Sol, essentially meaning sun personified. Regarding the sun's corona, we see that it is at the outer edge of the sun itself.
And-
The Tree of Life describes that the crown,
Ugh.
called Keter, resides at the outermost edge, containing all of the other spheres within it. So too as with us, the crown chakra relates with the farthest point on our auric field, the place from which our own personal energy interacts with the energy of the rest of the cosmos. So the fact that the sun has a corona, matching the name with this virus, might extend our imaginations to conceive of a higher spiritual lesson here.
No!
Perhaps in some way,
It's a
we can begin to see
coincidence!
ourselves as
You
one
already
interconnected
explained why
with
the
higher
virus is
order
called
of the cosmos.
coronavirus.
It
It's
seems as
almost
though the
like
lesson
language
here is
has
that
like,
COVID-19 is a result
you
of
know,
our own
words in
lack of
common,
harmony.
and
So let's talk a bit
sometimes
about this
things are
from a
going to be
more
used
practical
and they're
level
going to
for
sound
all
like
of us.
other things.
There is so much fear around this virus, and I get it. The possibility of imminent death can be scary. However, the fear itself is very quick to block us from recognizing that there's so much we can do about this just on our own. I think it might be valuable to see that, just like COVID-19, our fear itself is also a virus, and one that spreads even faster than coronavirus. What's worse, they go hand in hand. When we are afraid, steeped in anxiety and panic, our bodies release cortisol, the stress hormone. Too much cortisol, and it rapidly breaks down vitamin C, which lowers our immune systems. In addition to being more at risk from coronavirus, this also can lead to rapid weight changes.
Yeah, someone
skin
says it's
that
called
bruises
goober,
easily, muscle
or it's
weakness,
called Latin, you
diabetes,
goober.
and many other health
Latin.
problems.
Yeah.
All of this just from living in panic and fear. If we can recognize this quickly, COVID-19 provides all of us with a great opportunity, a time for us to use this period of isolation as a point of introspection, of self-discovery, of learning and evolving, so that when the virus is gone, we can emerge from our homes as stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. Perhaps we can even collectively learn some big lessons. No more mistreatment of animals. Let's take action about these smog levels. Let's take better care of our world. As mentioned, this is a great opportunity, but only if we decide to view it as one. The collective pain and struggle we are facing can be a great motivator for us all, and I know that for many, it already is. But if the majority of people still do nothing, if we all just sit inside in our fear and wait for the virus to disappear, we miss out on the opportunity to ride this wave of healing and regeneration that the planet is doing while we're all staying inside.
What? Ride it in what
So for
way?
now, I want to share a few things to support you in creating a healthy immune system. It should be known that a healthy immune system won't stop you from getting the virus, so of course, wash your hands and stay inside. However, there are ways to keep your immune system functioning
If we were
optimally,
here,
which
says,
help to
can
keep you
almost
healthy
guarantee
and
the
give you a
spirit
sense of
science guy
control
has
in
spent
uncertain times.
quarantine high
And
off
just to
his
be clear,
ass on
the intention of this
psychedelics.
list is
Yeah.
to provide support and is not intended
That's
to
how
be
you
given
ride the
medical
wave
advice.
of
Firstly,
healing
meditation,
by getting
or
high
simply
as
practice
fuck.
taking some time to calm yourself down, and then stay calm. Not only will this help your immunity, It will also help you make better choices.
No,
And instead of
meditation will not help your immunity, other than the fact that meditation could theoretically make you less stressed out, and stress can be a factor in terms of, like, immunoresponse. A very small factor, but a factor nonetheless.
Drinking lemon water, or eating things rich in vitamin C.
Nope, that's not going to stop corona.
Having a more alkaline bodily pH will support you in fighting disease. Again, we recently published the Healing Your Body with Food movie if you want to go deeper on this subject. Third, I recommend breath work. This is essentially a practice of deep, purposeful breathing, kind of like an active meditation that energizes your body, gets your blood flowing, and creates lasting benefits in a number of ways. Specifically, I recommend the Wim Hof breathing technique, which has been demonstrated to boost your immune system. Fourth, scientific studies have found that taking a cold shower increases the amount of white blood cells in your body, so taking cold showers are also something that you can do. Finally, if you're able to, exercise. Even if you're quarantined and can't go for a walk or a run, you can do push-ups or other forms of physical activity.
You can go for walks and runs as long as you're social distancing.
Help your immune system,
I guess it depends on the state maybe, but I know here you can.
Now, if you've done all of this and you're still feeling stuck or you want to go even further, I might recommend going through the 7-day transformation. This is a week-long transformative experience we created that begins at the crown chakra.
Crown chakra. All right, that's the end of the video.
In this time.
That's gonna be probably the end of the stream too. Let me see if Jake's live yet. If I can, no, he's not. I think Jake's gonna go live soon though, based on what he said to me. So keep an eye out for actual Jake, who is going to stream soon. Thank you, Vantahawk, for following. You can also follow me on Twitter down here below the screen you're looking at. Well, I would raid Jake, but he's not online yet. You can donate to my Streamlabs if you want to help support the show. You can donate to my transition fund if you want to help support that specifically. He said he would be live at 8, but it's already 8:01, and I don't see him live yet. If you like this, maybe share the channel somewhere if you want. That'd be great. I'm trying to get my averages up. So, yeah. Is Jake definitely still not here? Yeah, he's not up yet. Well, keep an eye out for actual Jake. He'll go live soon, I'd imagine. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Where's the... I gotta find the button. There we go. End stream button.